Welcome to episode 55, oh my goodness, of the Sunday Sequence Break. We've finally bit the bullet. We're going for it. It's Ocarina of Time. Took us 54 episodes to build up courage to do it. So, good luck, everybody.
Yep.
Stepping boldly into the void with me is PJ.
Hello.
There's Feasel.
Hello.
We're down to Duckfist this week. We don't know where he is, but he's not here. But also, I don't know, what should I call you? Heroes of Time or some stupid shit like that. We have another guy.
What a graceful introduction for a guest.
Good.
That was bad.
I don't know much about Zelda.
As if you weren't sure if we really appreciated you being on the show. There you go.
Ow. There we go. But we have our Zelda guys. We opted for Runner Guy. Say hello, Runner Guy.
Hello.
And ZFG as well.
Hey.
There he is, sounding as happy as ever. We did invite Cosmo, but he decided that sleep was more important than Ocarina of Time, which is something
all of
I
us envied his choice.
Well, when I was awake at 11 a.m. and Cosmo was starting like a Mario 120 star or was halfway through a Wind Waker run, I kind of didn't think he might be here on time. So Cosmo's having a snooze. And after him at AGDQ, he'll probably sleep for another 30, 40 hours, so he can have his beauty sleep. But hey, before we start trying to tackle Ocarina, we got to do some recap, so PJ, as usual, you're first up.
Oh, fantastic. So, let's see. Last Saturday, I started doing the Charlotte IL table for CVHD and continued to plow through it, and I finished it on Monday. So I completed the whole table in 3 days. Just got it out of the way. But I'll talk a bit more about that when we get to that.
The file for that.
And then I played a whole bunch of Worms and some Torchlight too. Some casual stuff while I wait for my capture card to get here.
Is that another Chinese Easy Cap?
Yeah. Well, this one's Taiwanese.
$4 down the drain. It's Taiwanese, okay, so step up.
Yeah. Yep, that's it.
Feasel, what have you been doing?
Oh man, this week. It was a pretty busy week, so I mostly just got a lot of work done, but as far as gaming goes, I started learning any % Ninja Gaiden, which was pretty fun. I'm actually enjoying the category more than I thought that I would. And I also started playing Super Mario 1 for some reason. I just started learning levels of it at random. I don't know where I'm going to go with that, but it was kind of fun to do. Yeah, it was, but my motivation was unrelated to that.
So you had a good motivational reason, but you just threw that out the window.
But I didn't go for it, no.
Yeah. Fair enough. As for myself, just been playing some tiny bit of Vice City, played some Bayonetta, played some Metal Gear Rising, played some Devil May Cry 3 yesterday. Well, actually, yesterday I made like an hour and a half drive up to DR Singe's house. We hung out there speedrunning and playing games all day.
Huh.
So we finally unlocked co-op mode on my save of DMC3. So now when we play it, we don't have to unlock the thing every time we do it, which is nice. But we did a run, beat our previous time by 7 minutes or something like that. The game's pretty trivial and easy, so we are... I don't know, we might up the difficulty, I don't know. But it was good fun yesterday. Did some Bayonetta runs, they're getting better, so yeah, I don't know. Starting to practice for ESA, I suppose. So there's all these other games I want to run, which I guess curse of being a speedrunner, I don't know.
Yeah.
But hey-ho. Runner Guy, you're up next. What have you been doing the past week?
I was actually out of town for like 4 days this week, but I took my N64 and my capture card, my laptop with me. Which was,
of course.
It was interesting because the hotel room had like, I don't know, downloadable N64 games or whatever. It was like $7 an hour or something.
Huh.
but I didn't have to pay because I was smart.
Or your own jokes on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I did.
Similar
my-
thing. See, I went to a hotel recently and I took all my alcohol with me in a bag. So jokes
You
on
just
you,
poured it in
minibar.
the bag. You didn't put the
Yeah.
bottles in the bag.
Oh yeah,
Just yeah,
that's what real resealable sandwich bags are for, right?
right.
But yeah, so I did my Wacky Wednesday, which, for those that don't know, I'm actually doing a blindfolded playthrough of Ocarina of Time.
Mm.
So I did that at the hotel. I was using their internet. It was good.
Nice, nice. You got a good stream on hotel internet.
Yeah, I was surprised that the
Wow.
upload was good enough.
That's crazy.
That's pretty impressive.
And devoted to your fans. Did you have to fly internally, by the way, or was it a drive?
We drove.
I just wanted to know if you had to take your N64 out of your bag at security
No.
and like scan.
Yeah, and then explain what it is to those guys.
All right. Okay, good. And then ZFG, what have you been up to?
I've been doing Ocarina of Time 100% runs basically all week, and working a little bit on Night Sky, which I know everyone's hyped about. Everyone loves Night Sky.
Looks pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Is that it? Oh my god, are we done with recap already?
Doesn't seem right.
That's it, it's only 7 minutes in. Well, whatever, dude. We need to get a running start.
All right.
Do we go into Ocarina of Time now, or do we
I-
kill some...
No, I think we should start.
I
soon
guess
as we
so.
can.
I don't think we
There
should
was
waste some more time.
Let's
I
go.
think we should maybe sit here for a minute or two.
I think
no, but
Fiesel
seriously.
was skimping on his recap. We could give it another shot.
Diesel's letting us down. Work. Shouldn't have believed him. But hey, it's Ocarina of Time. As pretty much everybody knows, Ocarina of Time is... Well, it's definitely one of the 3 biggest speedrun games out there. And
I
has
thought
been
you were going to compliment
for
it for a
years.
second.
No,
I started recording and everything.
you mean you stopped the local recording?
Right, yeah.
But it's Ocarina of Time. Obviously, the game itself needs no introduction, which is why we've asked Runner Guy to introduce it for us.
Sure.
Runner Guy, what's Ocarina of Time?
Well, Ocarina of Time was a game for the Nintendo 64. It was really the first 3D Zelda in the series, and it had a unique system to handle like the 3D mode, which was a Z targeting combat system, so you could lock onto a bunch of the enemies. And it also did something with the A button called the action button, which basically, I mean, that kind of did everything from open doors to different types of attacks. It was really such a unique system, and it's been used, I think, in every 3D Zelda since, hasn't it? That style of play.
I mean, with
I
my
think it
minimal
has.
knowledge of it, I
You're
can't
asking the
think of
wrong
an
guy.
exception.
It's up to ZFG.
back me up.
Yeah.
Yeah. ZFG's like, oh my god, no, I'm the Zelda guy. I sorry.
Yeah, but in terms of like speedrunning, I mean, the tricks and the glitches are so endless. When you play it casually, it's a fairly linear game. You can do a couple things out of order, but when you add all of the tricks that you can do, I mean, you can pretty much put anything in any order. It really opens up a free range for the game.
There's just one question I got, and I want to ask this right now to get out of the way, because I'm going to forget by question time otherwise. Do you guys reckon that it's glitchy just because so many people have worked on it? Or like, there's so much to it because so many people worked on it, or just because it's like broken? I know it's clearly broken, but you know.
I think it's a little bit of both. It's definitely because of the scale of the game and how popular it is that definitely helped break it so much, but there's a lot of things in the game that, like how the game works, that a lot of other games don't do. Kind of hard to explain what I mean by that, but
Yeah.
I do think it is that the game is just inherently very possible to be broken.
Yeah, I want to say, like,
yeah.
it is one of the first. I mean, I mentioned it was the first 3D game in the series, and I feel like a lot of these earlier 3D games had, you know, the standard types of things like clipping.
Yeah, they do. Look at
but-
almost any N64 or PS1 game.
Right.
Yeah, and with like 3D games being new and all, they couldn't protect the game from giant glitches like this because it's all new stuff.
They couldn't protect the
They
game.
couldn't
Well, I mean, like, you know what I mean.
Some great.
We're hiding these glitches.
They couldn't hide them or stop you from exploiting them like they do with some newer games, right? I know, I understand. But okay, so we're trying to do like an introduction to Ocarina. So we're going to go over like the biggest glitches, some of the history of the game and categories. We're going to start off with that. So, what are the categories of it? I mean, they've changed a bit because there were a few any percent categories, and they sort of all become one now. So if you just go through the active ones now, that'd be great.
Okay, the main one is obviously any percent. It's gone down by 4.5 hours since speedrunning this game started. It's now basically a 20-minute run.
So do you want to say that again? What was the original time?
The original time was very close to 5 hours. It's now 20 minutes. Uses a lot of very significant glitches, which we'll talk about a bit later.
It's interesting also, I want to point that it didn't jump from a 5-hour run to a 20-minute run. It got progressively, there was one trick and it's like, okay, now it's a 2.5-hour run. Then it's another trick and now it's an hour and 10 minutes. Now it's 40 minutes. And then, there were several tricks that were found over a sequence of time that brought it down.
And we'll get to that in the history.
Yeah. And then I know there are other categories. Especially now any percent is so short, there's a few other categories that have spawned and actually caught on. They're not gimmick categories at all, they're actual things people run. So
yeah, there's MST in all dungeons. MST was basically the standard kind of middle category for a few years. It's basically you have to finish all the dungeons and you have to do the trials in Ganon's castle. And the all dungeons thing actually came out pretty recently. Basically, some people decided the trials seem kind of stupid and don't really fit in what MST should be, but didn't want to change what MST was. So it's just all dungeons, this separate all dungeons category, which is just beat the dungeons. Although it only does remove the trials from Ganon's castle, but that one removal actually changes a huge amount of the game, skips a lot of cutscenes, a lot of items you wouldn't need anymore, and actually makes it significantly different from MST despite being a slightly different definition.
That's cool. So it's a genuine route change. It's not the same thing, but you take out a few stages.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And then one more recent thing, which, not necessarily a recent thing, but actually very active in the last couple months, is 100% as well.
Oh yeah, you want to talk about the runner guy?
Yeah, sure. 100%. It's kind of hard to define in this game because there's so many things that could kind of count as a percent. It doesn't have a counter. So it was really up to the speedrunning community to decide. And there are still like people that say, well, why isn't the cow in the house? You can get a cow in your house. Doesn't that count? It's like, well, okay, do we have to open every chest too? It's, So the definition, it's basically everything in your inventory that stays on like the quest screen, all of the songs, the gold Skulltula. You have to get all of those, all of the hearts, things like that are typically counted for the 100% run. And this is a run that's pretty much in the last, I'd say, year and a half, 2 years, has gone over a good many changes as well. It's starting to the route is starting to flow a little better. It's still, I feel like there's a lot more work to be done for that category, but it is cool that there are a couple people that are pretty serious about it now.
Mm-hmm. And also, just to note about how much that category's changed this year. 1 year ago, the record was over an hour slower, maybe close to an hour and a half. So,
yeah.
I remember the 6 being cut.
Yeah.
Being like, oh my god.
How did that happen?
Yeah.
Now it's like, okay, ho-hum, 457, whatever.
So one question about the 100% in terms of these games as far as glitches go. So obviously any percent is completely broken with the wrong one we'll talk about later. And then they get slightly less broken as you go up?
No. They get, if anything, it's more broken.
More broken.
I would say it is like the any percent the things that you do in that run, you also do in the 100% run.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like the first 15, 16 minutes of 100% is very close to what you do in 80%. And then you have 4.5 more hours of glitches.
Alright. And then also just to mention, I think we'd be remiss not mentioning bingo. It's only here. It's not really a true category, but there's such a history of bingo in Ocarina of Time. To not mention it would be kind of silly. So there's also a lot of bingo goes on, which is, for those who don't know, you get a randomly generated board of stuff, and you have to basically bingo it to cause a line of 5, either vertically, horizontally, or the one diagonally. Get certain things, and so what are a few things? Like get X heart pieces and so on, right?
Yeah, that's like beat X dungeon, get X hearts, get all of 5 Skulltulas in such and such area. Just different types of objectives throughout the game. And because of all the glitches and the tricks, it really does become a very open-ended game. And you could pretty much do anything in any order. I feel like it's really a perfect game for bingo just because of it's all, the linearness of this game pretty much disappears with what you can do.
Yeah, a lot of other bingo games, you sort of have to complete a whole chunk of the story anyway as you go. So
Yeah. Wait, I don't have to do the child dungeons? All right.
yeah, sweet. I'll just skip them. So
yeah, I mean, there's even things like reverse dungeon order, which is like a category that like no one really talks about, but it just shows how you could go about this game.
Yeah.
You could start with the last dungeon and then work your way backwards in reverse and beat the first dungeon. That's how broken it is.
Nice.
So
All right,
does anyone still do anything with like the old obsoleted 90%, the Ganonless? Or is that just like dead now?
Not Ganonless, but there kind of is a category on ZSR for No Wrong Warp, which is the any percent when RBA was used.
Okay.
It's not too popular. A few people do it, but it's mostly dead. As for Ganonless, that's completely dead. No one cares about it.
So ZFG's Ganonless is still king?
Yeah. The record that I've had for a year for that no one cares about anymore.
Yeah.
Hey, join the club. If you want records nobody cares about, we're all here.
All the records I have right now are just no one cares about it.
All right. Okay, so let's go over the history of these trick discoveries because they turned the game from the aforementioned 5 hours to not 5 hours. So if you go to head down the history, you got a little section right now here. Do whatever you want with it because I don't understand it.
Okay, so basically the history started with TSA doing basically glitchless runs because nothing was really known besides a few things like power crouch stab, which is when you do an attack and you use your shield and then press B to do an attack while you're shielding, it does the same power as your last attack, so it kind of kills bosses faster, but it's really minor stuff like that he used. Then the first 3 major glitches that were found were the trial skip. This was, you go to Ganon's castle and you go to the spirit trial. And then in the spirit trial there's an Armo statue. You pull it towards the door and you do a jump slash at the correct angle and you get pushed through the wall. And then, so once you're pushed through the wall, you're in this unloaded room of the main area of Ganon's castle. And you have basically no idea where you are except for the beams of light in the main room, which you can still see.
The physical space is still there, just all of the...
Yeah. Like, you can walk around, but there's no textures, so you can't see anything except for those beams of light. So you have to make your way to the loading zone of Ganon's Tower. And then, because the room is basically unloaded, the barrier blocking the entrance isn't there, so you can just walk right in.
Yeah, and it's interesting, too, because it's like the trials were there to, save Nintendo. Okay, this is the end of the game. If you had skipped anything, well, we got you here. And then we could just go and skip them all anyway. So any items that were skipped, like the hammer, all these bow, things that you would have to pick up along the way throughout the game, they were supposed to be used in the trials, and we were just able to break that completely.
Yeah, like if we couldn't find this, then OOT wouldn't have gotten as short as it did so fast. We'd need to find some other stuff.
That's what
This
happens when
allows
you
you
put.
to skip chunks and chunks of the early game as well
Oh,
as
yeah.
the physical actual doing the trials. Okay.
So, and then the next big one was the Cocoa Jump in Gerudo Valley. This was used to get to the Spirit Temple early as child. And this allowed a few things. The biggest two things about it were getting early bomb shoes and early silver gauntlets, which allowed you to skip Saria's song. And also the Gerudo card later in the game. Saria's song, Gerudo card, Goron bracelet, and allowed you to get bombs really fast. So this was a pretty huge sequence break early on, especially for the segmented run. But it was, at the time, it was known as a really hard trick. It's now a lot easier, but this was a pretty difficult but huge trick.
Yeah, what they did with Spirit Trial, being able to get to the Spirit Temple early. Spirit Temple is a temple that's broken into a child section and an adult section. Normally, you're supposed to come back much later in the game as a child, but you're able to get to the child section early using this in your first child playthrough. And so in the game, you never had to become a child again. That saves time on itself. And then, like CFG mentioned, there were things that you could obtain out there. Having an explosive without having the bomb bag really breaks the game, because in so many cases they made you require having the bomb bag to like blow up a wall to advance or blow up something. But being able to have your explosives, because it's the bombs you needed a bomb bag for, but the little mouse explosion bomb shoes you didn't. So you were
They
able
can
to
just go in your pocket, I guess. It's fine.
yeah, apparently.
The Pokeball.
Yeah. Okay, so next up we got Shadow Early is here on this list.
Yes, Shadow Early. This was probably the biggest early sequence break. In the graveyard, there's this is the original method. There's been quite a few methods after this, but there's this box in the graveyard. You get on top of this box, and you do a damage boost up to the wall. And up on this wall, you can barely walk on the top of it. So you had to very carefully walk around the rim of the graveyard and make your way up to the Shadow Temple.
Like 1 or 2 pixels wide, right?
I think a little bit wider than that, but it's definitely pretty tight. So you gotta be really careful here.
Scene walking's horrible. Anybody who's ever done it will tell you the same.
And when this was first found, people were thinking, okay, so this will be like getting hover boots early. That's really great. That's going to save a lot of time because it breaks the other dungeons a lot. And then someone figured out that if you get to the Shadow Temple early and then beat the Spirit Temple, you don't actually have to beat the Forest, Fire, and Water Temple, which the game says that you have to beat to get the light arrows, but that's a complete lie. So you just beat the Shadow Temple and the Spirit Temple. It allows you to skip Fire and Water completely, and then you still need to go to the Forest Temple to get the bow, but you don't need to beat it. And so this was the first sequence break that allowed you to skip dungeons. So this was pretty huge and basically cut the time in half.
So we've lost. We're down to how long now? About 2 hours long for any percent at this point?
2.5 at this point.
2.5. All right. Okay. So we got dot skip up here.
Do you want me to talk about that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it. Just swap back and forth.
All right. So the Door of Time is one of the major, I guess, parts of the storyline. When you're your child, you have to beat the 3 child dungeons. And then you go to this pedestal, you have a cutscene, the door opens, you grab the Master Sword, you become an adult. For the longest time, we had noticed this crack on like the left side of the door. It was like you could kind of see through it. Everyone was like, oh, maybe we could clip through there somehow. And finally, someone posted a video in 2008 of them just falling out of bounds. They didn't get it. They just fell through that crack. And immediately, like, the whole community knew, like, this was going to happen because it's Ocarina of Time, so it has to. So then, it was found that with a very specific little side roll, side hop, you could clip out facing the door, and with a precise jump slash, you could kind of land in between it and then just side hop to the other side. And this, essentially, you could get a sword at this point, escape the forest, which I think we're going to talk about still too, and then immediately do this with like nothing in your inventory. So runs became a lot shorter right after this.
It's the next one. So I know how huge Dora time skip, because when I was talking to run a guy at AGDQ, he said something along the lines of, if somebody wanted to learn this game, they just need to learn this, and then they're technically speedrunning it.
Yeah, pretty much if you can't do this trick, it's like you're not really speedrunning the game. Like, you need this trick.
Yeah, it's like second to wrong warp. This is pretty much the biggest thing. Maybe even bigger than wrong warp because it's more useful in general. But this is very huge.
Yeah. All right. Then there is Forest Escape next, which is, I think, another very well-known trick. I think almost everybody knows Dora time skip and the Forest Escape trick. So,
Forest Escape kind of complements Dora time skip in allowing you to skip the 3 child dungeons. Because to get out of the forest, you normally need to beat the Deku Tree, and this allows you to skip it. And then to normally get through the Dora time, you need to beat all 3 child dungeons. And surprisingly, you actually can't skip the Kokiri Emerald if you actually try to get the Song of Time. It doesn't activate if you only beat Dodongo's Cavern and Jabba Jabba's Belly. Kind of contrary to the medallions, which is odd. But this combined with Dora time skip allows you to completely skip everything in the child section. And what you do is you just do a crouch stab against the wall and try to talk to the guy. And then the recoil pushes you through him, so you're inside him, and then you go in this like invisible wall circle, and then you have to roll under his legs, and you are out. When you explain it, it's a very...
When you explain it like that, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I did my best to make it sound as interesting as possible.
Good job. All right,
There's
and then
been,
sorry, go for it.
Okay, there's actually been several methods of this escape too, by the way. I think there are several areas in the game that allow you to naturally, I guess, right warp from different... Like, they meant you to use Goron City to Lost Woods warp. They meant for you to use, like, another warp where you can dive once you get a longer scale, a better scale. But, there's ways that we can get out through, using a dive through the water. You can escape and hit the Zor's River. And actually the first one that was found did ISG and Infinite Sword Glitch and hovering to the bridge at the end of this video. So there were other methods. All of them kind of have their own uses, but...
This is the most common one.
Yeah, this is the one that's used.
Along with the Zora's River Escape, which I don't think we have a video of right now, but...
Yeah, I don't have that video.
Right, okay.
Definitely, this is the really most important one.
Okay. And then to complement the right warp, the big discovery...
Have a trick
I know you
called
like
the right
that.
warp.
I know you like that.
It was discovered when? About this time last year, right?
Yes. Wrong warp was found. Wrong warping in general was found around February of last year, and then Ganondorf, which is the wrong warp to Ganon's castle specifically, was found 1 year ago yesterday. So.
Wow, so there you go, we're at the anniversary, because I remember us talking about it on the show.
Yeah, perfect timing for the show.
I remember IRC being a buzz with all this Ocarina news. So, tell us about Wrong Warp, because this is huge.
So,
this was
Wrong Warp is a very complicated glitch. Basically, you need a blue warp at the end of a dungeon, specifically the Deku Tree, Dodongo's Cavern, or the Fire Temple. These are the 3 places that allow the Wrong Warp to work. So, what you have to do is, you have to catch something in your bottle, usually a fish or a bug, and you have to backflip and land right on the edge of the blue warp. And this allows you to... And you have to do the Ocarina Items glitch, which is where you backflip, press the bottle button, and then an item that Link holds in his hands, usually the sword, And this allows you to play a fake ocarina on the blue warp. So at this time, the blue warp is starting its sequence to take you up to the next cutscene. And then, but by canceling the ocarina, you are able to move while this is happening. So once you cancel the ocarina and start moving, you have to exit the area on a very specific frame. The way this happens varies depending on the wrong warp method. Is there no video for this? I thought
yeah, I played it. I was just really
is it?
amazed that the 100% run
I don't
goes
think
to Ganon's
anybody-
castle.
Is it? It's black.
I
on
don't
the
think
screen right
anybody
now.
saw it,
Oh,
PJ.
jeez.
Yeah. I made a little post in Skype. I was trying to be discreet, but PJ was just like, enjoy the video
I'm
so
too,
much.
yeah, I'm loving
There
the
you
video.
go.
Here we go. There we go. I thought something was weird.
Intentional.
That's cool. This one's just for me.
Yeah. Private showing.
Okay, so you do ocarina items on the edge of the blue warp. And then this allows you to cancel it and gain control while the warp is trying to take you up. And then, depending on the method of the wrong warp, there's a few different things you can do to wrong warp. The one you're going to see right now is using the door. So for this specific one, you have to leave the room, open the door on one very specific frame, and then on this very specific frame, the game tries to load the cutscene for the Kukiri Emeralds and the basement of the Deku Tree at the same time. And it doesn't know how to do this correctly, so what it does is it basically adds the two values together, and it winds up in the wrong place.
That
And in
value
this case-
also just happens to be Ganon's castle.
Yeah. It just so happens that these two very specific values at the beginning of the game end up leading you to the very end of the game.
They should stop making it so easy to wrong warp to the end of games.
Yeah.
It's getting a bit silly now.
Well, they thought they got around it by making it easier to get to the end cutscene, but
And there
And
you go.
so, in the regular any percent run, you would just exit the castle there, go down the castle escape, fight Ganon, and you're done. In this video, it's a 100% run though, so you save, warp out, and do some other stuff.
Is it actually quicker to just physically do that than running there in the 100%? Is that...
It actually can't be done in 100% because of what you need to get. All three wrong warps that you need, Deku Tree, Dodongo's Cavern, and Fire Temple, you actually need to step in those wrong warps to get items later on, specifically the Ocarina of Time and the Nocturne of Shadow. So, right now, there's basically no way to do a wrong warp and still get 100%. Well, no way to get a wrong warp to Ganon's Castle, finish the game, and then get 100%, but there technically is one way. It's extremely complicated, and I don't think it's good to get into it right now.
That's perfect. Okay, cool. So, as for records then, just to wrap up these times, so the 4:57 TSA, that's the original any percent, right?
Not quite original, but it's the one that lasted for quite a while.
Okay, right. And then Kazooie had a 4:46, which it says there's no major skips.
Yeah, this was the first run that used a lot of glitches, but was a no major skips, basically what MST is now.
Right.
This used Shadow Whirly and the Coco Jump to break a lot of the dungeons, but not actually skip any.
That was also on PAL, I believe.
Oh,
so
yeah.
The fact that it only was 11 minutes faster wasn't, it was actually a lot faster.
I think if you convert the time, it's more like barely under 4 hours on NTSC.
How many FPS does the PAL version run at?
I think like
6.
17.
Wow.
Something stupid.
Wow.
Never play the PAL version of this game. It's like, if you ever want to speedrun this game, stay away from PAL. Unless you're on GameCube, then it's okay.
Okay, so then there's a 226 segmented by Mana Cheese, so I'm guessing that's using the Dora Time and the Shadow.
Yeah, that was the first run on SDA at least.
Right.
That skips the Forest, Fire, and Water medallions. So that was the first very major skips run.
And then a 116 by Pokey, which was the record for the... Is that still the record for no wrong warp, I suppose?
No, it's...
No.
It is the record because it's on SDA.
Oh, right.
Of
Okay, there you go.
course.
Okay, then we got the 46252. Sorry, the 4652 Ganless. Is it a G, right? Best
Yeah,
category.
this was a short period between when the regular RBA route. Also, by the way, RBA we'll cover a little bit later.
Yeah.
We don't even do it right now. But this was a short period between the RBA route and the Ganondorf route. It was basically you wrong warp, but you use Dodongo's Cavern and you wrong warp straight to the credits. It was kind of interesting, but a pretty dull run, honestly.
Yeah.
It's
There's a lot of
bug
calls
catching.
to get rid of it.
It's just bug catching for
If the
45.
new one hadn't been found, I think there would have been a lot of problems with that. But anyway, then current any percent is 2118 by Pydoix. The current MST is 211 by Pydoix, and the 100% is 452 by SVA. And are those last three all on Japanese version?
Yes.
Yes, they are. Which is quicker because of text, right?
Mm-hmm.
Perfecto. Okay, so general techniques. We've asked the guys to pick out 6 of the most important general techniques to go through. So, yes, likely you will hear or miss a ton, probably miss 300, 400 tricks. So don't get mad. These are the ones they deem most important, right? So, first off is the Forest Escape, which we talked about earlier. Is there any more you wanted to say about Forest Escape?
I think we kind of went over it enough. I was actually expecting it was going to be less in depth at first, but I guess that's good.
We just didn't actually. So, again, to recap, Forest Escape, leaving it's Kakiri Forest early, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, I got the name right. That's so good.
Well done.
Okay.
I was really impressed. I was holding my breath there.
I wanted to say Kariki. I really did. But no, Kakiri, I got it. It's good. Then the Wrong Warp after that. Did you want to talk any more about Wrong Warp or just other applications?
I do want to talk about the one,
Yeah.
the other time step I have there.
Okay.
Yep, go for it.
Okay, so there's 3 places you can wrong warp from, but the place you wrong warp to, for each wrong warp, you can actually do several different ways to wrong warp away from it. This one specifically, the basic 3 ways, the main 3 ways of doing it are leaving the boss room through a loading zone, which is possible in Fire Temple and Forest Temple. Those both lead you to Ganon's Castle from... Or, not, did I say Forest Temple? I meant Deku Tree. There is no wrong warp from Forest Temple. The second way is dying. This is really common in 100%. What SVA is going to do right now in this run is do the Ocarina items on the blue warp right now, walk away from the warp, and then die in the lava. This is... Killing yourself, by the way, is very important in this game.
That was a strange fall.
That's a weird death animation, yeah.
Yeah, an interesting thing about the blue warp is when it's going up, it kind of lowers the gravity in the room and tries to lift Link up. But once you get far away enough, it unloads once it's like off camera. And at this point, this is a time you do some adjustments or something so that you make sure you hit the correct frame when you end up doing the wrong warp.
Well, that's the taking damage on every frame thing. Sorry, I just saw that and recognized it.
Yeah.
This is great as setup.
Yeah, so another way you can
cutscene.
do wrong warps besides dying is... Actually, there's 2 more. I think I said 3, there's 4. Is timers. There's some expiration timers in the game, mainly with the items in the Begoran Sword trading quest, like the Odd Mushroom and Eye Drops. If you can get those items to expire on the correct frame, those also lead to some interesting places, such as going from the Deku Tree boss to the Shadow Temple boss, or the credits, or the credits. Many warps to the credits.
It's halfway through the credits as well, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
There's
so
multiple places you can go in the credits. Choose your place.
right. So there's another type of... These all kind of the ones in the videos that are being shown, and the one to Ganondorf shows ways that you can warp, dying, getting to the door. The Ferrari's Wind one, which is your warp magic one, is really interesting because there's a way to get that item. You're normally only supposed to be able to warp with dungeons, but you can pretty much warp anywhere you want, set a warp point anywhere you want. And if you do that, and then you get on the edge of the blue warp and use it, it can create some very interesting results. There's even like a beta Jabu Jabu's belly scene that's not even in the game, like that you can watch, and then the game just freezes afterwards. So there's a ton of things you can do, and
that's probably why they didn't put it in the game. Because
Yeah.
they didn't know how to finish it.
One thing that I want to mention too is the reason that the warps work for Fire, Deku, and Dodongo's Cavern. The other blue warps you can use to like skip the cutscene after, but they don't warp you somewhere different. Those ones work because after that blue warp, you don't go immediately to the Chamber of Sages to talk to the sage. You watch a little cutscene first. But for the Deku Tree, Dodongo's Cavern, and Fire Temple, it shows a little cutscene, which is what allows those warps to work specifically. In theory, Jabu Jabu's belly would work too, but Rudo kind of messes that one up. She's standing there in the blue warp, so you can't really touch the edge of it without talking to her.
Yeah, she has to whine about how you were too late and block you from wrong warping.
Well, because you did half the game before you saved her. She
I
knows
have
you
been
could have saved
waiting
her
here.
first.
You got to go to the end of the game first, right?
Yeah.
Most instances, she just sits there the whole time and never gets rescued. There's hundreds of universes where you just never even meet her.
Yeah.
Whoa, mind blown. But right, next up is the Door of Time skip, which we spoke about that a bit earlier. Is there any other things you wanted to add to Door of Time?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Actually, I think there's one more timestamp I forgot to mention. Let me go find it and see if I can tell you before it's too late. Where is it? Around the 150-130 mark. When you go through the Door of Time is actually still closed, and it's surprisingly solid on both sides, unlike most stuff in this game.
Surprisingly solid.
So, you can't actually just walk through the Door of Time from the back. You have to save warp if you want to get out. And then this is also how you want to get back in after you're adult. There's still the crack, but adult Link can't just side hop through it because he's too big. So, there's two methods. In this video, the method you saw was a Big One Sword clip. When you do a triple slash with Big One Sword, you get a really fast speed, a really high speed, really quickly, and allows you to get through that crack. And with hover boots, you can just side hop.
See, that
past
looks like a legit trick. That looks normal to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you stab the Begoron sword into the Altar of Time.
Yeah.
And then there's another method that uses a hover boost where you do a crouch stab against a wall to get a high speed and then equip hover boots on the correct frame and then use that speed to get through. It's not really used anymore, but that's another way.
Okay. Next one is we got the Super Slide, which I know, and the Hess, which I still don't understand. I think I sat next to Runner Guy explaining Hess at AGTQ 2012. Still don't know what it is. So if you go over Super Slide and Hess right now, and then hopefully I'll learn something. Fingers crossed.
So
Many people have tried.
Yeah, there's still, in other categories besides any percent, you do have some overworld travel, and one of the fastest ways you can do that is through a Super Slide, or like a Hess. So Super Slide is basically what it sounds. You're sliding along, just gliding through the Hyrule Field or wherever. And how it works is, using your shield, you need to roll into a grabbable object. That can be a bush or a bomb. Bombs are usually used because you have them with you, but it could be, an object in the overworld itself. Then when you roll into it with your shield up and you take damage from another source, which could be another bomb, which is again why bombs are really nice. It could be an enemy attack, just something that's going to block your shield. If you block it with your shield at the same time that you grab it, it creates the animation, a locked animation where Link is just kind of locked. He's not moving at all, but he'll just glide back at the fastest speed possible.
Funny ears.
Yeah, this is adorable.
Funny ears, sorry.
And yeah, doing it with bunny ears.
Those bunny ears are hypnotic.
Really hilarious. But that's a nice way to travel throughout the world because it's the fastest known method of movement in the game. I guess besides like the wind tunnels in Shadow or something ridiculous like that. But that's Super Slide, and that's been the standard for a long time. We actually didn't think it was realistic to do without using Nehru's Love, which was like a protection magic. So runs used to just get Nehru's Love to slide around, which was kind of silly. That was, I guess, the auto Super Slide. Then we came up with manual Super Slide, which was doing it like you're seeing in the videos here, just using your bombs and being able to time it. It's a fairly tight window, I guess. How many frames would you say that is, ZFG, to Super Slide?
I think it's 3, I want to say.
It's not too bad.
So you mean 9 actual frames?
Yeah, 9 real
right.
In a real game.
Yes.
That's a huge window, if you ask.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really not too bad once you practice.
It's actually easier with 2 bombs. That's why you see a lot of people do 2 bomb Super Slides. It's possible with 1, but more inconsistent. So a lot of people just kind of got tired of the inconsistency of 1 bombs and just started doing 2. And then there's also the HES. It stands for Hyper Extended Super Slide. This is basically the same speed of a Super Slide, except you're able to change your angle as opposed to just a straight line with a regular Super Slide. This was actually found fairly recently, only a few months ago. Well, it was found to be more useful a few months ago. Before you had to use some kind of water source to actually keep your speed. And then it was found you could just roll into a bomb, press Z and R and the ESS position on the correct frame, and then you get it, and it's really not too bad. The ESS position, by the way, is a very precise position on your control stick. It's the smallest input that you can give the control stick that it will accept. It's when you do it, you see Link kind of shuffling his feet a little bit, but not actually moving. It's a tight position to get. You need
that sounds pretty crazy, especially on the N64 pad, which is kind of...
Actually, it's the easiest on N64 because...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because of the nature of the gate, I suppose?
Yeah, I think it's like how the control stick works. Like on later versions, there's bigger dead zones on the controller, and on the N64, there's a very small dead zone, so the amount of like how far you can move the control stick is actually bigger.
All right, cool. Next up is ISG and hovering. So ISG, very important, Combat 1. I know all about this glitch. Actually knows one. Whoa, you just fell through the floor.
Okay.
It's crazy, but yeah, sorry.
Yeah, ISG stands for Infinite Sword Glitch. When you crouch with your shield and then you stab your sword, there's one, well, I guess it would be 3 frames of input then. There's one moment, I guess, then you could
You can say frames, don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay. You're interrupting that sword before it like comes back to you. So it's fully extended, and then you interrupt it with check or speak or grab, just some other action that you can do. And then essentially what is happening is your sword is slashing. Just think of it slashing 1,000,000 times a second. It's always slashing. So you can just run into enemies and kill them just because without, hitting the B button. Which makes some boss fights really useful. It will, you can combo it with the power crouch stab. So let's say you did a jump slash. That's a heavy attack. And then you did a power crouch stab and infinite sword glitch. Every one of your stabs a million times a second is like hitting that boss with that jump slash power. So it can kill him really fast.
See, my question just on that one, does it get override the boss's invulnerability frames? Like, is it too quick for that, or?
Some bosses try and get up, and you can keep them down. I know Bongo Bongo's like that. Ganondorf is like that. Some bosses, like Phantom Ganon, will get up anyway, so it's kind of boss dependent in that case.
Okay.
And another interesting thing about Infinite Sword Glitch is if you use it and you try and jump off of a ledge, Link won't jump. He's busy, like, I don't know, trying to slash his sword at the edge. So he'll just stand at the edge, and you can't jump off, which I guess leads into hovering. If you want to take that one, CFG.
Yeah, once you get the Infinite Sword Glitch and you do a backflip and then shield damage, the game knows you're not in the backflip animation anymore, and normally a backflip or slide hop is the only way you can actually get in the air while having the Infinite Sword Glitch on. So once it realizes you're not in the backflip or side hop animation, it knows, okay, you're not supposed to fall down because you're swinging your sword, so you just get stuck in the air. And you can use this to gain some very large amounts of height, get to places you normally can't get. And also, an odd thing about it is when you're starting to hover, if you only do it off of one backflip, basically off the ground, you'll immediately fall back to the ground. So you have to, if you're starting it on the ground, you have to do 2 hovers very quickly, or else you'll fall back down. And then once you get those 2 hovers off, you can just continue gaining as much height as you want. And the time window for it is not very precise at all. There's like at least a second where you can just drop the bomb and backflip. And also, it works with any type of damage, but bombs and bomb shoes are the most common ways.
Yeah, we're seeing that bombs are very useful for pretty much everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're set up for a lot of tricks, it seems. Are there any places where you don't use the bombs for this stuff because there's a better way around, or?
Not very.
I
think
really
there might be something in Bingo.
Yeah,
The
in some
only
cases.
example, example I can think of is in an old in the 4-man Ocarina race you did in the AGQ 2011. I think Chiano did a super slide off an enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also one example I actually thought of hovering off an enemy is, it's not used anymore, but in the very old 90% route, the fastest way to get to the fishing pond was to hover and mega flip off a Tektite, which was, at the time, one of the most precise tricks in the game. It was incredibly stupid. It was a really dumb trick that everyone hated, but...
Yeah, you had to manipulate this Tektite to hit you at very precise moments, and then if it just decided it wasn't going to, you were stuck in midair, and you'd be stuck there because he wouldn't keep hitting you to gain more height, or he wouldn't hit you to do the flip back to get on the upper ledge. So it was a really, really hard trick, just because you could do pretty much everything yourself right, but if you didn't manipulate the enemy in the right position, then it just wasn't going to work.
All right, and then it says here that there's a new trial skip. Are we playing that already with this?
Oh yeah, that was what was already played. It's the the trial skip.
Okay, cool. And then we got boss key skips. Is it actually the final one on this little list here?
It is. So one interesting thing about dungeons in this game, the entire dungeon map, I guess you could think of it, is in one, I don't want to say scene. Each room is like its own scene, but the overall dungeon is in its own like map, except for the boss room. They put that in a separate area. So when you unload, a room like we saw earlier with the trial skip, the physical rooms are there, but you can still fall out of bounds. And if you fall out of bounds and you touch that loading zone, that's still there. So you can enter from the dungeon proper to the boss rooms just by touching that loading zone from anywhere. So in this case, it's really interesting. The hammer is needed to beat Volvagia, the fire boss. Hammer gives major recoil, and you're able to clip out of bounds by putting the hover boots on. And you're just going to fall here and touch the loading zone, and it sends you to the boss area. So that's kind of used in several different areas. There's another one in Forest that's used, and interestingly, that is also you get the main item there, which is the bow, and from that room you can clip out of bounds. So it's like we found clips in the rooms that you need them to, really. But you're able to just get out of bounds and touch that loading zone to enter the boss room. It just can skip huge sections of dungeons.
Also, it's good to note, in the 4 out of the 5 major adult dungeons, boss key skips are in general faster. The one exception is the Shadow Temple. The Shadow Temple boss room is the farthest away from any out of bounds that you can get in any dungeon. It's incredibly far away from the best out of bounds place. It's basically only used in a TAS. And in Spirit Temple, it's also sometimes used. It doesn't save that much time in Spirit Temple, but it is possible. You just, actually for Spirit Temple and Water Temple, instead of doing these big out of bounds like in Forest and Fire, you can just jump slash through the wall of the door. You just hover up in front of the door, do a jump slash, and you're in.
Wow.
Can't believe they never thought about it while making the game.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. Fire their QA guys.
I really like the hammer through the wall.
Yeah.
Well, they thought about it, but they just hid it from CFG.
Actually, interestingly enough, the method I said about jump slashing through the wall, it only works in Spirit Temple and Water Temple, and in Forest, Fire, and Shadow it doesn't, which is interesting.
Water. Let's see if I can find Water Temple.
I think Water Temple is like around 330-ish.
Ugh. The power of VLC.
Aha.
Yeah, it should be right at 330.
Yeah, we gotta be one tick away. Yep, here we are. Thanks.
There you go.
Wait for it. Wow, that's a nice bomb setup. Throw it against the wall.
What?
That's brilliant.
That's nice.
This game does have a lot of unique setups. A lot of the tricks are positionally precise, timing precise. So it just seems like in Ocarina of Time specifically, runners want the tricks to be consistent and will go to any lengths to make. I know some setups end up being like really silly.
Yeah, you gotta do like 10 backflips, 15 side rolls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, the thing about I think Ocarina of Time taught all the other speedrunners about setups and how important they are. I think a lot of people just sort of will grind it out when it looked good, and then Ocarina runners were like, you could just do a setup that like guarantees it's right. And other runners are like, yeah, that's a good point. But I also know a little random bit of trivia that I picked up from one of the AGDQs. Someone had built a program that like found all the angles of walls and how to clip through them, and then how to set them up as well. Which I thought
stock
was
order.
cool.
Yeah. And one interesting thing about getting the angles and positions in this game is there's a lot of movement in Ocarina of Time that is very consistent. Like, if you do a roll while targeting and not holding the control stick, you'll always move the same distance. A backflip will always be the same distance. A side hop will always be the same distance. A side roll will always give you the same angle. So there's a lot of ways to do movements and angle changes that will be always consistent 100% of the time. And that makes setups in this game extremely easy, fast, precise, consistent.
Yeah,
and it's
definitely.
Something
It's definitely really cool, I think.
Yeah, a lot of other games don't have movement as precise as Ocarina of Time. You can always move exactly as much as you want,
Yeah,
which helps making setups a lot.
Nice, real nice. Okay, so I figured I know it's the other way around in the doc, but I wanted to do the miscellaneous stuff before how to learn, just for
Oh, that's
whatever
good.
reason.
Yeah.
So, do you want to head through these miscellaneous miscellaneous what miscellaneous?
You got it.
That's all right. I did it.
Good job.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so I think the first thing in there is RBA. RBA stands for Reverse Bottle Adventure. It's a glitch where you get a bottle on your B button, and then depending on the item on your C right button, it can modify items in your inventory. Is the video up?
What's that?
Is the video not up right now?
I do not have a video for it.
I thought I posted it in the Skype.
You might have done. Probably did.
I can look for it.
Go look, PJ. You keep talking.
It was the archery video.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna just. All right, that's fine. Here we are.
It's cool.
Technical difficulties.
I thought there was an RBA video, like exclusively.
Yeah, this is
it's
the
not
RBA video. I
technical
guess I should have clarified.
difficulties. It's human difficulties.
Comprehension difficulties.
Yeah.
Okay, so RBA is when you get a deck stick on your B button by stealing the rod from the fishing pond or doing some funky stuff with Epona that I don't really need to get into right now.
And
then
very nice of you to leave it that vague.
Yeah.
So imagine.
And then, well, it's a long explanation, and we're already.
That's good. That's good.
So then you get a bottle on your B button by doing a bottle dupe over the Deku stick, which is when you swing your bottle, and then, or no, in this case, it's you do Ocarina items, except you have 0 Deku sticks, and then it overwrites a bottle on the B button. And then when you catch something in that B button, it writes a certain value to a certain memory address based on the item on C right. So as you just saw, he just caught bugs on the B button with Kojiro on C right. That gave him a 20 arrow quiver, which is smaller than the normal minimum quiver, and a 40 bomb bag, which is the biggest bomb bag, just by catching those fish. And with other items, you can get stuff like getting the medallions in your inventory, or getting songs, or getting 29 bomb shoes. So it can do a lot of crazy stuff depending on the item you have in your inventory. It used to be very useful in the 80% run. It's mostly obsolete right now for all categories pretty much, except for bingo for races. But anyway, an interesting thing with this specific RBA is the 20 arrow quiver. And when you get a 20 arrow quiver, it's smaller than, because it's smaller than the normal minimum, when you try to win a bigger quiver, the game doesn't quite know how to react properly.
This is so good. I love this.
Yeah, this is a favorite of most OOT runners. It's a really good glitch. So you play the archery in Kakariko. You have a 20 arrow quiver. You want to win something bigger. You want to get a something quiver. But interestingly enough, the game, because it doesn't have, the game thinks like, if you have a 30 arrow quiver, give the 40. If you have 40, give 50. But it doesn't know anything to do for 20. So when you have 20, nothing happens at first. And then you realize your A button says something. And then you press the A button. and then you're picking up the guy.
He doesn't have any legs. That's the creepy
He
part.
doesn't have legs.
He pulled his body right off the legs.
The legs are still behind.
He is not
He is
impressed
not-
by
yeah,
what you
he
just
is-
did.
He's not happy, is he?
He
You're
just
looking
wants
for
to
the
run
legs right
alone.
now. I see.
Bastard. You absolute bastard.
And so, this isn't the only place you can try to get another quiver. If you try to get the quiver from the Gerudo archery, a different effect happens. It's not quite the same, but it's pretty funny as well. So when you win the Gerudo archery, again, nothing happens. As the video.
Yep, I got it.
He's
Okay.
got it. He's doing it.
I wanted to see him
all
pick
right,
up
I'm
the
just
archery
making
guy
sure.
again.
So, as before, nothing happens when you are supposed to get the quiver, but you press A and you open a chest and you get the spooky mask. If you
What
are
was
on
it doing down
N64
there?
Totally makes sense.
It's a really heavy chest.
So this is actually an interesting version difference. On N64 1.0 and 1.2, you get the spooky mask. Because why not?
You borrowed a spooky mask, right?
Yeah, you borrow.
You borrowed it.
Ooh, can I just take? Yeah, I'll borrow it. I'll bring it back. Don't worry.
And then if you're on GameCube or 1.1, you get fire arrows.
I like how you just kick her on game.
Yeah.
You just kick her. And you can keep opening these chests again and again. They stay there.
Do they sit in your inventory as well?
Yeah, it goes in your inventory, and you can use it like
Nice.
normal. And then if you're on Master Quest, you get some bombs.
Huh.
You also don't touch up the archery
Yeah,
lady.
no touch up for
Yeah.
that one. And one more interesting thing about the spooky mask. That's the third mask you get in the mask trading sequence as child, where you help out the Happy Mask salesman guy, sell some masks. So that's the third one you get. If you actually get that as the first one, you can skip the second mask, and actually, you still have to sell the first mask to activate stuff going, but then you can go straight away and sell the third mask and skip the second one, and you also cheat the guy out of 15 rupees.
What a jerk.
Typical Link. All right, cool. Now, as if anybody who didn't already want to know how to run this game doesn't already run it, we're going to give them how to learn Ocarina of Time in 3 easy steps, which I'm keen to hear because for me, I just cannot wrap my head around how I would get somebody to learn. Obviously, I don't know much about it, but I have no idea how you'd meant to go about this. So, do you want to just go through these, run a guide? Do you want to talk a bit
Sure.
about it?
Yeah, okay, well, it's kind of hard to explain this game in 3 steps. So
Yeah.
the first thing I would recommend doing is going to zeldaspeedruns.com. It is a little bit outdated in terms of just there's so many tricks, it's hard to keep up with all of them. But it does have a good collection of Ocarina of Time tricks. Different techniques, different skips that you can do, major sequence breaks. And it goes through and it tries to explain them kind of like we've done here. And then it further will try and tell you, okay, you need to stand here, you need to press this button and then this button. So it kind of goes through the process of doing a lot of these tricks. And it gives, video links so you can either go to YouTube, or I think there are videos even on the site or just linked to YouTube that you can watch to try and understand, maybe you were doing this part wrong or that part wrong. So I would recommend checking out that site and just going through some of the tricks that you're interested in learning. I know all of the major ones are there anyway. There might be some obscure ones that aren't. So that's definitely the first thing that I would recommend doing to someone who, it's a really hard thing to ask when someone says, how do I speedrun this game? It's like, well, what do you want to do? Because you could do anything.
Yeah. It's always one of the games if anybody asked me what's a good game to start with, I would never in a million years say Ocarina of Time.
No.
Because I think it's so complicated, but so many people have made it their first game and run with it and done really well, so I don't really understand that.
It's not too bad if you start out small, like with any percent, but you definitely don't want to jump into 100% as your first thing, or you will not get anywhere.
Yeah. All right. So next up, tip number 2, rather.
This is pause buffering. Basically, one thing about pauses in this game is you can unpause and then pause to advance 0 frames or 1 frames or a specific amount of frames. And this is really good for very precise timing tricks. There are a lot of tricks in this game that only work on 1 or 2 frames, and pause buffering makes it much easier to time these tricks. A lot of the more advanced players don't need to use pause buffering for a lot of tricks, but pause buffering is probably the best way to get consistent at hard tricks in this game, because with pause buffering it basically removes the timing element of a lot of tricks. So any difficult timing with tricks is basically...
That dog is going nuts. I'm sorry, I had to say something.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Okay, so...
It's just happy, man.
Yeah.
Right.
So, pause buffering allows you to...
It's cool.
Pause buffering allows you to time a lot of tricks much easier.
Chat has been murdered.
Yeah. It's too much.
So yeah, pause buffering is a really good way to learn the hard tricks, because it makes timing it much easier. It's a little bit tricky to get used to the timing for pause buffering. There's not too many visual cues for the timing, so you kind of have to get used to it, but it's not too hard to get used to. Once you can do that, you can time some tricks very easily and get the hard tricks pretty fast. Well, decently fast. You're going to lose some time from pausing, but it allows you to actually get the trick at least.
Yeah, this is a game where some of the mistakes, it's not like if you make a mistake, sometimes it only costs a few seconds and you try again. You can make a mistake in this game and it can cost you like 5 minutes if you fail it. So it's really critical that you hit some of the tricks, especially if you're, just starting out and you're, needing to hit this trick for your run or for your race. Pause buffering is a way that you can slow the game down, essentially, instead of maybe you got to hit all these inputs in a successive order. You can kind of pause. Okay, I'm on this frame now. I add A. Pause. Okay, now I'm on this frame. I'm going to add R. It's a nice way to hit the inputs at the correct times.
Yeah. So it also means you don't have to actually master a trick fully before you can start running the game.
Essentially, which is good, which it leads into the third point. One of the things that's really good to learn lots of different parts of this game is to just start to race it. Once you pick up a few of the basic tricks, maybe you can do dwarf time skip, a method to get an explosive early, get the bomb shoes early. If you can get shadow early and get the hover boots, those are all really good things. Once you pick up, maybe infinite sword, get the things we talked about in this video, basically, you'd pretty much be ready to start doing some races. And I feel like racing on Speedruns Live, it's really where Speedruns Live kind of formed with Ocarina of Time racing. It's just a nice way. This game is so open-ended. There's so much you can do. And especially with bingo, to play, a bingo board. Every bingo is a different race. So it's really fun to just kind of think on the fly with your different routing. And when you're new, it's going to take some time. You might pick up like one or two extra things. Maybe you'll struggle on a trick or two, but then you'll learn it. So the next bingo you do, you'll have that in your back pocket if you see that square again. And it's just a good way to progressively, I think, get better at the game. I feel like the categories, any percent, it teaches you a wrong warp, but it's really short. 100% can be really overwhelming. I feel like bingo is I feel like bingo is a nice way to learn along the way. And there are always going to be people in like the race channels that if you have a question like, hey, what do you need to do this? Like there are goals like get 5 gold Scorpolas in Lake Hylia. Okay, well, what is needed to do that? You kind of figure out those types of things along the way as well. So you really gain a vast knowledge of the game when you start to race it.
Yeah, and also, something I forgot to mention back in the ZSR part, ZSR actually has an IRC channel on the Speedruns Live server. It's Hash Zelda. Like I was saying, if you ever need help, there's people both in race channels and in Hash Zelda that are able to help you with a lot of different stuff in OOT. And
there's a lot of guys, and they're all super helpful. What you have to do is look at like Tompa in any IRC he's in. Will probably teach you any trick in any Zelda game you want. But anyway, cool. Right, is there any last things you want to say about Ocarina before we move on?
Oh no.
Any tiny, minuscule little things you want to mention, or shall we? Can we shall we move into records and news and so on?
I think good.
I think
good.
PlayStation 4.
Okay, awesome. Good job. Hey, welcome back, Feasel. Sleeping. No, okay, that's fine. So as far as news and that goes this week,
The big push.
the big push continues. SDA is 15 years old, sort of.
Yeah.
Yep. And the ESA pre-schedule is out, so if you want to go look at that and praise or bemoan its shortcomings or praise its amazingnessitude, you can find that now. Actually going to post that in the chat. But that's also on the... how do I do this? Oh my goodness.
Oh,
I need
no.
a hotkey it. It's going wrong. Yeah, there you go. And so there's that as well. Was there anything else? Was there anything else? Anything else? There was the Easter Marathon we sort of talked about last week. So I think that's it as far as news goes, right?
Yeah, I think
so.
so.
Oh, well, Seasons has
So
started.
Seasons is in effect
Oh,
now.
yeah.
Seasons in effect, and SRL has a nice new, pretty layout on the races screen. You can see all the Seasons runs and so on. So yeah, Seasons in effect.
And Ocarina of Time 80% is in Seasons, so
is it now?
yeah. So if OG
Yes.
80% interests you, do some
Now's the
Seasons
perfect time to
races.
learn it. Yeah.
It's a really short, really fun category.
Yep.
And not too difficult to learn. You can farm all the scrubs really fast.
Currently, J-Bop is the world's best any percent player. So, congratulations to him.
A lot of people are yelling at me for calling it fun. It's actually, it's a category that a lot of people don't like watching, I think. But when you're doing races of it, it's a short enough category that you can just do it whenever you want. So it actually is kind of fun if you're not resetting over really small mistakes.
Yeah.
So
It's
when I
also
say fun, I'm not lying, guys.
it's also interesting how Deku Tree is the first dungeon, but really it's one of the more technical dungeons of the game. There's a lot of little techniques throughout that dungeon.
Hey, hang on a minute. You're sucking us back into Ocarina of Time section.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see your game here, mister.
Hey, it's OOT. We gotta. There's too much stuff.
It's cool. It's cool. Right. So let's go into records, personal best, whatever you want to call it now. And we start off with a fantastic game, which I think I'm going to offer to you, ZFG, because it reminds me of him. Do you have this doc open, ZFG?
Yes, I do.
You do. Okay. So you want to read out this first one? You know how this works, right?
Yeah.
Perfect.
So
Cool.
this is Sparkly Shut Up and Jam on PC by Laserlong. I think I saw this game in.
I'm so
what was
sorry
it,
for you.
I think it was a Swift Runners marathon once. It's an interesting game. I don't have much to say other than that. Oh, and it's 100%.
It's 100%.
And the time is 51:58.
Yep.
There really isn't much to say other than that. It pretty
No,
much
there-
speaks for itself.
Yeah.
It's the Barkley saga. What's it called? The something Barkley saga, isn't it? The Hoops Barkley
it's
saga.
Gaiden. I forgot to mention that. The important
Gaiden.
part.
So this you're fighting Ghost Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically what's it made in? RPG Maker or something. You know?
MS Paint, I think.
Oh. It's obviously a freeware custom game, and it's a basketball-based sort of RPG.
Yep.
Yeah,
You got it.
that's it.
Yeah, that's it. We're just gonna leave that there, and
It's game one of the Hoops Barkley saga, man. That's it. Next up in the continuing Bastion improvements, the new game plus any percent has been improved. Which, so those of you who don't know, there is a crystal. I think they're called crystals. I think that's wrong now. Shard, duplicating glitch, whatever. The blue things. There's a duplication glitch where you can pick up multiple ones, which allows you to skip lots of levels. New Game Plus obviously means you can just spam all the ridiculous things you get at the end of the game. There's a gun which is like Simon throwing knives in Castlevania.
Oh man.
Or sorry, Richter, whoever. But yeah, pretty crazy. But this is Redbird. They got a 1445, cutting the 15. Says just a slight improvement over the previous run. No new tricks found, just better optimization. The main improvement left to make would be the getting 0 falls in the entire game. This one has 4. So falls is like it wastes maybe like a second or two each time. You just fall down and then respawn back on the ledge where you fell off. So, yep. Cool stuff. Check those out. I think there's a whole bunch of videos in the SDA thread if you want to know more about Bastion. Next up, PJ. Oh God. Oh Jesus.
Yes.
PJ.
All right. So the Battletoads Warpless run has been improved by the Mexican runner. He got a 28:01, which is a really good time. Mexican runner is obviously really good at Battletoads. He did beat the run that's on SDA, Ichthus's run, but I think someone else even beat that more. I forgot who it was, though. JC, maybe?
Yeah.
But we don't have that on this list. The any percent has been beaten as well. So, yeah, the Mexican runner is definitely not done with this. He's still pushing this and the any percent lower. So, hopefully we're going to see a lot more of this, and hopefully some year I'll be able to finish ActRaiser 2 so I can get back to Battletoads.
Yeah, they've been racing. I've seen a bunch of them, the races, so that's good.
Yeah, they do a lot of races. There's one day that they just do like 5 in a row or something crazy.
Yeah. All right, Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. Now, you two guys play N64 games, and this is a GameCube game, right? So, have either of you played this on the off chance? Fingers
I
crossed.
have not played it.
I think I vaguely remember playing this once, like 10 years ago, maybe.
Absolutely perfect.
That's close enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg, any percent 1:18:14 by Ion Grevere, something.
Yeah, that'll do.
Pronounced Ion Grevire.
Gravy Ray. Oh, that sounds awesome. Nice. Sounds like a delicious way to get meat flavoring on your food with a gravy ray.
Yeah.
Okay.
He says, I played worse, but better tricks gave me better time. I can get a 1:16 by not messing up. Playing well, we'll get a 1:15.
Yeah.
So, looks like it's decent. Getting good.
Yeah. It's actually a surprisingly cool run to watch, even though the idea of the game existing makes me sick.
It's basically Katamari.
Shut up.
Which is
you
like
can't
your
do that
favorite
to me
game.
again. You did that to me with Bayonetta once, didn't you? I can't remember what game it was.
I think it was God of War.
Yeah, it's... I don't know, man. It's weird. You find these giant eggs and roll them around, like that. Good stuff. All I know is that Annie ran this game, so...
Annie did?
Annie did. Yes, he did.
Really?
Yes. Huh. Okay, next up we got some Castlevania games, which means PJ gets to talk for a little bit.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Alright, so Ram Scout's been working on Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow, and if you take a look at the time, you'll probably notice it's slightly lower than it was before. The time now is 18 and a half minutes, 18:34 for the Julius any percent. I think it was hovering around 40 or like mid-30s before. So he says here, this run improves the previous record by close to 15 minutes, thanks to a new skip that enters the final areas of the game without beating any of the necessary bosses to open the gate. The run now has 5 boss fights instead of the usual 14, but because I'm at a much lower level, the run is actually much harder to finish. Makes sense. For instance, I fight Death at level 10 instead of the usual level 24. Tech such as backdash cancels and jump canceling for attacks matters more than ever now, as is getting lucky with boss patterns. There's no telling how low this time can go right now. And, man, like, if you watch any of the videos that he has of this, he does some really, really dumb zips. He, like, uses one of the special attacks to go, like, into the next room and kills an enemy and levels up while he's in that next room without triggering the loading. And then you just look at the map screen and watch it go, like, all over the place, and then suddenly he gets back in bounds and he's somewhere on the other side of the world. So I think he's having the Tassers look into this. He found, like, a whole bunch of methods for zipping, and some of them he can't get back in bounds. But yeah, this is I'm pretty sure this time's gonna drop pretty dramatically.
ROM Scout, yeah.
Yeah, from Scott,
and then
Castlevania.
another Castlevania.
That's
Hello.
right. So like I mentioned before, I finished the Charlotte IL table. The time is 11 minutes and 1 second, 0.3. It's like 3.5 minutes slower than my Simon table. If you remember the CVHD episode we did, which is not likely, basically every speed trick relies on the dive kick, and Charlotte can't dive kick.
Yep.
So her only speed trick is jumping as infrequently as possible, because there's a few frames of lag when you land. So I just had to beat every stage, like, jumping as infrequently as possible, and then mashing as hard as I can on backdash cancel to kill bosses. And I actually mashed so fast that I overloaded the number of times you can hit a boss, and I wasn't able to kill him a few times. So it's really dumb. Pretty terrible character, but the runs are pretty neat. So that's
Cool.
that.
All right. Speaking of me just saying cool, that's also in the name of this next game.
Cool segue.
Hey,
Well done.
Who wants to take this one? I imagine at least one of you two, Feasible or PJ, knows about it, right? Right.
I've seen it. I've never played it,
All right.
but I've
Same.
seen it. Yeah, I'll take this. All right, so this is Cool Spot by Mr. K. He finished in... that time is not correct.
No, I'm gonna guess that isn't.
It's 12 minutes and 6 seconds.
I was gonna say,
Not
and
12
even
hours.
said easy mode in 12 hours.
Yeah.
is pretty-
Yeah, we've got our first joke submission.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you play as the mascot of 7-Up, and you throw... I don't know what those are. They're probably bubbles or something. But, I don't know, this game kind of reminds me of Rayman, because you've got to, like, save the Cool Spot that's... Is that the name of the mascot? Cool Spot?
Yeah, I'm gonna guess it is.
All right.
Sure.
Well, you gotta save the Cool Spot that's trapped in the cage at the end, and I think you have to collect a number of those red things along the way to
See,
make
I
it
don't
savable.
think. I'm pretty sure we didn't have the cool spot in Europe. I'm
Oh,
now
no.
trying to remember if the like weird cartoon guy, who's like monochrome, was Sprite or 7-Up. I think he was
Weird
Sprite.
cartoon
So
guy that's monochrome.
yeah, he
Wait,
had
what?
like wavy hair.
There was a Sprite mascot.
I can't remember if it was Sprite or 7-Up though.
Huh.
7-Up's got a
Dude,
mascot.
somebody in the chat will know.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone was listening.
Fido Dido.
Fido Dido?
Fido Dido. that
That's
was his
definitely
name.
made up.
No, that's real. That was 7-Up as well. It's crazy.
Really?
Huh.
There should be a Fido Dido game then,
Yeah,
right?
there probably is.
Okay.
But since it's PAL only, they only made 8 copies, and they sold 2 of them.
And those two people thought it was on Master System.
Yep, you got it. So,
Yeah,
Mr. K's
people-
actually been working on this for a really long time. And by really
Yeah.
long time, I mean a few months, probably. And, he's submitting this.
That's
So
an
he's-
eternity.
Does
That is
he-
an eternity in
Does
speedrun
he
terms.
rev up as well?
What's that?
As he runs, he revs up. Look. Starts
you
off real
gotta.
slow. Yeah.
Isn't
When
that
you're
how you
that
run?
cool. It's when you're that cool. Alright, so there's just a link for Fido Dido in my chat. Great. People are amazed I was correct. Right, Crash Bandicoot 3 Warped, the PS1 version. So, Electron Avenue / Solar Bowler / I think another name of this is Rabid. Got the 105%, that's the normal full 100% because there are two secret levels in the game. And these are super secret, not just semi-secret, they're the super secret ones. Egopus Rex and something else, I can't remember what it is. This is 234.15 by Electron Avenue, who says a decent run, but many stupid mistakes though. But some important tricks. 7/8 1 cycles. Don't know what that means. Despawning box for best moment of a run ever. So, wait, a despawning box? That's not cool. In a game where you need all the boxes, that's not great.
That's not
Yeah. So, yep. I know Electron Avenue and I can't remember. I think it's Pete the Player are working on bringing this time down. So, good luck to those guys. Next up is a game called Dead Pixels, which I don't know anything about. And if Feasel and PJ don't know anything about, then Runner Guy's going to have to make something up.
Okay.
Yeah, good stuff.
Spot on.
So this is Dead Pixels, done by Businessman, any percent easy mode.
What a great idea.
Yeah.
I changed up the purchasing route a bit, mostly from using bargaining as my first upgrade instead of running speed. I tried to ignore as much conflicts as possible, unless if a group of fast zombies come by because of their low HP, an amount of money dropped is amazing. Overall, better run. Bargaining strats are a lot better than my previous strat, and I see more possibilities for sub 10. Sounds interesting. There's zombies and they drop money?
Yeah.
It's River City Ransom.
He finally shifted off the top row in that video. He'd just been running across the top row. Oh, there you go. He's back up to the page.
Yeah,
oh my god, he's faster.
What do zombies need money for?
I think it's when they were humans, they just kept them in their pockets, right? They just sort of held on to that cash just in case. You never know when you might need money.
Yeah.
Maybe, like, there's a... Now, this guy's a businessman, so he might be a bit greedy. So perhaps, like, when they're trying to break into his house, they could just offer him some money instead.
I don't even know what he's attacking. Just stuff is dying, but I don't...
I don't know, but Bill's dead.
Bye, Bill.
I'm going to guess, just for the record, these speech bubbles are not in the actual game.
No.
So if you're enjoying the speech bubbles, not in the actual game.
Yep.
That's
You should buy the game anyways, but you won't see those.
Yep. I don't even...
Wow, that
Dude,
zombie
what
is
is this?
persistent.
Dude, look at him backpedaling. Dude, what is this?
I think
It's
I like
like
this
the
game.
Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
Oh, that one zombie took a lot of shots.
Yeah, he did, man.
Huh.
Oh, boy.
I don't really know what to think about that game.
I don't either. But it was an 11:59:42 by Businessman. I like your ID. So we'll go with that. Next up, Dishonored got improved again. I think there was a cool April Fool's joke for Dishonored. At least I'm convinced myself it is an April Fool's joke, where they spliced a video and said like they got a new record of 15 minutes. But this is an actual any percent in 38:38 by Fero. Oh, Fearful Ferret. I'm sorry. I was going to say Fero of Time for some reason. That's not right.
Hero of Time.
That is a guy, isn't it?
That's so close. You just missed.
But this is Fearful Ferret, who, this is great, right? So Fearful Ferret took the record from Decided Sloth, right? So, I'm enjoying these animal tapes. It said, Decided Sloth managed to beat my previous world record by 7 seconds, so I came back with this run, which further improved the record by 8 seconds. There's still at least 20 seconds to save, but I'm really happy with the execution on this run. The only interesting route change is an extra out of bounds glitch at 30:05, which saves maybe 1 second, but looks pretty cool. So Dishonored, I've said it a bunch of times, it's a really cool speedrun to watch. If you played the game, you should check it out. And I think if you're looking for a new game and you have a copy of Dishonored on your PC, it's pretty fun to run. I mean, admittedly, I needed the first level, but it's cool. I think more people should try it out. So think about it. All right. Hey, this has 64 on the end. And we've got 2 N64 guys here.
Oh man, we're off the hook this week.
Boy, don't fight about it, you guys. Go for it.
I know because I've actually watched some of this.
Cool.
Doom 64 by Peaches in 38:58 on Be Gentle mode. He doesn't have any comments, I guess.
That's cool.
But this is a really entertaining run to watch. I've been watching him do it quite a bit, and it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's kooky and it's crazy and it's super fast. So
yeah,
really fast paced and
yeah.
I feel like he improves this every week.
He does quite often, but that's Peaches' way.
I think he's just sandbagging so he can be on the show every week. I think his limit is like 29 minutes, and he just keeps beating it by 20 seconds.
Nothing to do with the game being extremely broken.
Yeah.
No, nothing about that. He's got a triple speed glitch in the game. He's just waiting to unleash on us. All right. Next up is a game called Espadrime 2, which I'm going to ask Fiesel to talk about because it's on NES.
Oh, we had this one before.
Did we?
Yeah, we showed this last week. This was the game that was that RPG with those action battle sequences.
Oh, right.
Right.
So you still got to read it.
Yeah, I'm still going to read it.
No, that's it.
So this is Esper Dream 2, an any percent run in 101.45 by Sets. This run, like my previous run of this game, is done using an English translation patch, because this is a Japanese game. So this is a huge improvement over my 108.38, mostly due to a new risky as hell route. I take on 2 encounters at level 1 that I really shouldn't be able to make it past, so I can afford the Stardust gun much earlier. And if you remember from last week, he said that one of the most important things to making the early game go well is, buying the Stardust gun as soon as possible, so you can save a ridiculous amount of time on a bunch of these fights. Let's see. This involves setting the game speed lower. I am then able to mash fast enough to stun lock one enemy in place while avoiding the other enemy. Making it past the 2 encounters has had about a 5% success rate in my attempts, so I'm glad this run went as well as it did. So, setting the game speed lower. Interesting trick. It's surprising that you can do that on an NES game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that it makes the run faster.
It actually helps the run. I mean, I can see what he's talking about with, keeping guys stun locked, But.
Yeah, there's similar things in Final Fantasy 9, I know, for the per level 1 runs. You swap the game speed between high and low, so the bosses just die. In one game, I can't remember which one it is, you'd set it to the speed to low, but poison still ticks at normal speed. So the boss takes 3 or 4 ticks of poison when it would normally take 1. It's something like that. I can't remember what game that is, but it sticks out in my mind. While we mentioned Final Fantasy VIII record, Caracan took that back, not content with having all the other 3D all but Final Fantasy 12, I guess, records. Caracan has got an 8, 39, 37. He says he got the Quistis card first try and the Zell card second try, which I believe is you have to win the games of cards against certain people.
Yeah, and they have to have the card. They have to use the card against you.
And use it, and then you pick which card you take, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember it.
Unless you get screwed by the rules and you have the card rules where you get the random card afterwards.
Alright,
to pick. But if you know what you're doing, you never run into that.
Yeah, so Quistis card first try, Zell card second try, that's pretty damn good. So the run was pretty well executed, but still room for improvement in movement and menuing. The biggest time losses in the run were a very slow Renoa skip and getting Squall instead of Irvine on the final battle. So the final battle, you get a random party and you need to just keep killing people until they swap out to the right person.
Yeah, it's spectacular.
So, yeah. And very kindly, Caracan has given us... He's played on the PS2 SCPH 712 with fast disk speed. Fast disk speed. Freudian slip, oh my goodness.
So it's now a requirement whenever you submit anything to give us the serial number of your console.
Yeah. Well, this is a thing because it loads quicker than... it loads faster than the other one, so that's fine. Next up is the Final Fantasy IV, the PC. This is called Classic Percent.
You said Final Fantasy IV.
You said Final Fantasy IV, yes.
Did I really?
Oh, man.
My God.
Flicky mistaking GTA for Final Fantasy.
Dude, they're basically
about
the
the
same
same
game.
length. Yeah, they could have raced each other in these 2 games here.
Yeah,
they could have done. But this is Classic Percent in 83332 by Ethelon. Now, Classic Percent means no taxi fast travel. And no autosave, and vehicle density set to 33, which makes the run more like classic 3D GTAs, hence the name Classic Percent. It's also apparently, the other thing with this is the reason a lot of people didn't really want to run GTA 4 was because a lot of it was getting in a taxi and skipping cutscenes to do that, and I don't know. So this run was pretty bad, but he's still learning the game. He definitely plans on keep doing the runs a couple of months. A good run of this would probably land close to 7 hours, so we got a way to go yet, but hey, he told us about this and it made it onto the dock, so good stuff. After that, hey, I edited this timestamp, by the way.
Uh-oh.
I don't know what the hell the timestamp was before.
Okay, I've got that one.
I've got that one, so...
Yeah,
this is GTA Vice City on PC, any percent in 138.35. Now, guys may have noticed that this is about 4 minutes quicker than it was previously, and the reason for that is you'll see here just now he gets a quick kill on this guy, so instead of going on the bike and getting them, he just shoots him from a distance, which is pretty hard because that's like 2 pixels you get to aim at. And then after that, there's another bit to keep the video rolling, PJ. And basically, Tiryu, they found a couple new tricks. There's another version of the chase, of course, because they're not content with like 6 or 7. I think they've got a new one, which basically consists of instead of getting a new car and parking that next to it and getting it in that new car, you can actually trick him into getting into his own car, so you don't have to destroy his car and kill the other guy. You can literally just pick him up in his car and drive off the chase, hopefully. If you guys want to know more about the chase, check somewhere else, because I can't really explain it. And then
send our viewers away.
Yeah, well, there's actually a clip now in this which you're about to see, which is kind of weird. Instead of getting off the bike here and taking a phone call, then riding through the gate, you just sort of do this clip you're about to see. And then take the phone call, and you're right by the house, which saves a little bit of time. I don't really know what's going on there, but the phone call you take actually opens the gate for you to go through. So by you clipping through, the gate opens behind you. Wow. And that's I don't know if it's a new trick or just a new safe setup or what, but basically Tiryu has just been going for resets at failure, so just doing the riskiest, stupidest strats the whole time. So yeah, good stuff to Tiryu. Well done. Next up, another Miami-based game, but this is Hotline Miami.
Well, hold on. We gotta watch this bike ram into the gate again.
Okay, do it.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Okay. Yeah, it's coming up.
Come on, we got to go through this must look really normal to you two guys.
That's nothing strange.
Yeah.
That's how you're supposed to do it, right?
Yeah, right. That's intended. Okay, so next up is Hotline Miami, which PC US version Game Plus any %, which is 2838 by Duke Bilgewater. And he has a little comment here. He says, when you're running the right game, when the chance of choking on a round is as high as the chance of the game crashing. I finally got a single segment time that beat my crash % time, which I assume by that is a time he had that was going to be better than this, but it crashed.
Yeah, it's a good interpretation.
I'm going to keep running this game until I hit the perfect sub 28. Now, I think Exo fixed his crash problems with this game, because Exo's been running this for a while. He's not as good as this guy, obviously. Not yet. But I know a bit about it because of them. Like, all the enemies have AI, like there's like 3 or 4 different types of AI where they can respond to noises and run up to you or do nothing and all that sort of thing. And apparently it's sort of random which one each enemy is. So it's all sort of skill and response time. Like, you have almost no time to respond in it. But there's a lot of throwing guns at people, punching guys as they run around corners, killing dudes, and escaping. And it's a really cool run, and it's really hard speed run as well. It's like so much twitch, reaction times, 360 no scope, that sort of stuff. And the setups are just pretty awesome too. And there's a lot of dying. So if you ever actually die, sorry, what am I talking about? If you can die real easily. It's one hit kill. So you gotta focus for it. But this guy's real good at it. I mean, he has the Exo seal of approval, so not sure how that's worth, but hey. We got Mirror's Edge. If anybody wants to grab Mirror's Edge, anybody?
Oh yeah, I can do this. I've been watching Donkey do a lot of Mirror's Edge runs lately. He got a 43-21 any %. Finally beat the record by Floobs by I think 30 seconds. Yeah, beat the old world record of 43-58 by Floobs. Sub 43 would be possible, but extremely hard. He's been, I've been watching him for the last few weeks or something. He's been improving his PBs for the most part by 10-20 seconds, and then comes out of nowhere with a 147 improvement last night, I think, and beat the record by 30 seconds. So huge improvement, and it's a really entertaining run.
It's a cool one. There's a lot of
it's
unintended. It's like pushing the limits of what the game will let you do, isn't it?
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of just fast-paced running, but there's also some really cool glitches, some out-of-bounds stuff. I think there's this jump kick glitch or something. I don't actually know much about the game. I just know it's fun to watch.
The good thing about this run being on the show is I finally now know how long a Mirror's Edge speedrun is. I get asked it surprisingly often. People I know like want to pick a game and they start with Mirror's Edge. So it's a cool game, and I know it's been popular at marathons as well. So
yeah,
it's cool to see it. Next up is a game I would like Fiesel to talk about, just because.
All right. Just because.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this game is Nickelodeon Guts for the Super Nintendo. This is an any percent run in 12:29 and a half by Businessman again.
Businessman.
Mm-hmm.
And his comments for this are going aggro. There you go.
Yeah. The only comment.
So, I don't know. I mean, I guess this is one of those, like, game show sort of things that they have kids used to be on.
Yeah. This was a Nickelodeon game show. Sure.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, this game looks like the least amount of fun you can ever have with a video game. I really don't know how to word it besides that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what's a mistake and what's just, like, the way you have to do it because of the game's physics. I really have no idea.
Like that.
Yeah.
What are these flips?
Something about the animation makes me think of Time Cop. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Time Cop and Dash Galaxy.
Prince of Persia.
Oh god, yeah, Dash Galaxy, you're right.
Dash Galaxy, he's got
Those
a Dash
jumps.
Galaxy 5 to his jumps. Like, what are those flips off those ledge?
Well, it
I
can't be
don't know.
Dash Galaxy because he's moving forward while he's jumping. It's not a completely vertical jump.
So, yeah, I mean, this guy ran this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congrats to him for being the first person to play this game. Yeah, I don't even know.
It's when he, like, slides up against it and then jumps. Like, does he have to or not? Where's he even going? Do you have it? Like, I don't even understand.
No.
This is
I used to
Nickelodeon
watch this
Guts.
show and I still don't understand.
Yeah,
I also watched this show growing up.
yeah. I've never not familiar. Oh my! Whoa!
No?
No,
worry
that's
about
not
it.
real. That's the Gildersleeve highlight. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay. We got Octodad up next. Runner Guy, would you like to do the honors?
Sure. This is Octodad on the PC, any percent, done by S in 557. It says, still had a couple of red splits, so still room for improvement, I guess. Is any speedrunner ever happy in their comments?
No.
Okay.
No.
Biggest problem in running this game is the mouse cursor doesn't stay inside the game sometimes. So you find yourself clicking and then suddenly the game loses focus. It happened at least twice in the run.
To answer your question about speedrunners being happy, they are for a little while, and then a couple like weeks later, they'll still be submitting times of the game, and then they'll be unhappy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they'll be happy, but you have to know what you're looking for in the comment, because they
Yeah.
won't say that this was a good run.
Yeah.
They'll say something like, this run didn't suck, or something like that.
Mopping so fast.
Yeah.
It was a fast mop, though.
You got the first mop. But Octodad, the return of Octodad. As we all know, we adore this game.
Yeah.
Definitely love it. We like to think it was entirely down to us that it was at the marathon, the AGDQ, so we're taking all the credit for that one. You know?
Yep.
It was huge, wasn't it, at AGDQ?
It was
Yeah,
huge.
it was the peak viewer count until, wow, look at that arm.
Yeah.
It was the peak
The
viewer
thing-
count until, I think, the final day.
Whoa! And the crazy thing was, it was one of the... I think by the end, it was like the 5th most popular game by viewer count that had the view count go up during the game.
Yeah.
So some other games had more than that, but that was one of the ones that it went actually up. So, yeah, amazing stuff. And we had the dev on as well. It was 4th higher viewership. There you go. Awesome. Love it. Love Octodad.
Yeah.
Okay, Next up, in Worcester's tour through every single color of the rainbow, we're at Pokemon Emerald, which is one of the colors of the rainbow. Don't argue. This is the GBA. So this is what is this? Is this the bonus version of Ruby and Sapphire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the crystal / yellow / whatever of Ruby and Sapphire.
Yeah.
That's it.
This is an any percent in 255.41 by Worcester, who said it's a 255.41 game time. Oh no,
Nope.
real time 250.32 game time. Is this one with Mudkip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one with Mudkip. All right. So, yep, Worcester. Just I don't know. Keep playing Pokemon, man. I know it's all you want to do. So, don't stop because of us. That's all good. Next up, Shadow Complex. PJ, do you want to talk a bit about Shadow Complex?
Sure, I'd be happy
yeah.
to.
Go for it.
All right, Green Link has improved his any percent. I think this is the same category he was doing a while ago, so I'll say he improved it.
Yeah,
This is the New Game Plus any percent in-game time run. With a time of 5 minutes and 14 seconds. This game is really broken. It's pretty hilarious. He's got a comment here. Yep, I'm done with this category. This is the same any percent route I used during AGDQ, but with a lot more optimization. Back in March, I wanted to aim for a sub 530, then a sub 525, and eventually a sub 515. What makes a 514 special to me is that it's exactly 9 minutes faster than the first SCA published run of this game, back in October 2009.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's super broken. It's just your typical Metroidvania-style sequence-breaking clips, jumping out of bounds, climbing up things you're not really meant to be able to. It's a really cool run as well, and a pretty cool-looking game.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the entries in the AGDQ highlights reel.
I didn't see that. Oh, that was a news thing. That thing exists. That's out.
The highlights and blooper reels are finished.
Yeah.
Thanks to UA.
How long are they?
That's a good question. I think the highlights was under 2 hours, but not by much. It was like an hour 40 or something, maybe.
Yeah.
And bloopers reel was probably around an hour, but I thought it was like 40 minutes. I might be
that's
making those
cool.
numbers up, though.
Okay.
But yeah, he'd just shoot and make a stack of crystals or something on the floor, and then roll through a door, and suddenly he'd be somewhere wrong. Like this.
Yep.
Look at that.
Yep.
How timely was that? It's almost like I planned it.
Yeah. And there you go. See?
Yeah. Spot on.
Good stuff. So yeah, good job, Green Link. He keeps improving that one. I mean, I guess he just really loves the game. He just keeps lowering the time.
Yeah, that tends to happen when you speedrun a game for too long.
You can't stop.
Stockholm Syndrome.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Force 2. Anybody like to take this one? Otherwise, I'm just going to throw it out randomly.
Not it?
Okay,
No.
Feasel.
Oh no!
A nice long comment for
Don't
you.
throw it out randomly.
I did.
All right. So we've got Star Wars Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2 for the PC. This is easy mode in 3154 by Yisalamiri. What? That's not right.
Salami. It's a type of pizza. It's fine.
All right, sure. We'll pretend I said that, even though that's wrong too. But his comments
Never
for
had
this.
salami pizza?
Salami. All right. So anyway, seriously though, serious.
Jesus.
Got some comments.
Seriously, guys, seriously now. Come on, man.
Seriously, guys, come on. All right. He says this run is slightly faster than my previous run. That's good. I feel that sub 3130 is possible and a good goal to have for now. Okay, looks like he's pretty close to that. The first clip uses a thermal detonator boost to bypass having to find 2 wrenches and lowering the water level. Next clip shows the power of level 3 force speed. I start this level by doing some water skimming to maintain my speed, and I do another thermal detonator boost to reach the end of the level faster. In the next clip, I use... This is... Yeah, hold on. I gotta make sure I can see them both see the video while I read this. Oh,
Oh my goodness.
let me see. The next clip, I use one rail charge to avoid having to ride the entire elevator. I then use another rail charge to get into the palace earlier than usual. Doing this bypasses spawning some stormtroopers, but some invisible stormtroopers are still present. How do you know invisible stormtroopers are present? That's what I want to know.
Well, because you see the
He
bullet
feels
holes
them. He's got the
scattered.
force, man.
Bullets are scattered all across the wall, but nothing hit you. That's how you know
Yeah,
that
you
there's
feel
a
all
storm.
the
You know there's
lasers flying
stormtroopers,
past flying past your face.
Yeah.
You feel the wind.
All right. And now for the Death Warp. This trick works by laying down 5 sequencer charges and killing myself with a rail charge. The sequencer charges then explode and blast my corpse to the building where the level end cutscene triggers. So all I have to do is wait for the cutscene to play out and for the next level to begin. The final clips showcase just how fast this game can be at level 4 force speed and force jump. Even though I can move at those fast speeds, I have to be careful not to run into walls at these speeds because this results in impact damage that can kill you at high health. Too fast for
That's amazing. He runs
world, I
so
guess.
fast that the wall kills you.
Too fast
Yeah, just
for
running into the
every
wall kills you.
galaxy, man. Yeah, like that. I don't know, man. That is so funny.
I like the idea of
Just
blasting your
watching
corpse
that.
up to the top.
Yeah, it's an absolutely hilarious run.
Yeah.
I'm so glad we get to share it with everybody. Just the way he runs, just normally.
That speed is insane. Runs so
It's just
fast,
like-
blows himself up.
The character wants to get out of the game, man. Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of games where the character can run ridiculously fast in certain animations. 10 out of 10
Anything?
segue. It's Super Metroid.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. That was 10 out of 10. What are you talking about?
I don't know.
I don't know about
Cop
that.
power, 4610. 30 minutes game time.
Is that a
That's
1
pretty
second
good.
improvement?
That's a 1 second improvement. It's absolutely a 1 second improvement.
Man.
He said, okay, something along the lines of, it was okay, but I want sub 46. So, good
Huh.
job, Cop Power.
Yeah, that's
So,
a
well, I
crazy...
don't know what else to say. Like,
Yeah, it's just... I'm blown away.
Hotter Rubies runs a distant memory now, really. Like,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. But anyway, moving on, we have 2 guests here who can talk about Majora's Mask. So, should we ask them about it, or?
You're just assuming because they
we
play
may as
Ocarina
well.
of Time, they're going to know about
I've-
Majora's Mask. That's pretty prejudiced.
It's pretty, yeah, I don't know, man. Like,
It's
just-
accurate too, though.
all Zelda runners look the same, man. They all look the
It's
same.
prejudiced but accurate.
So, yeah, go for it. Would you like to take one each, or?
Sure.
Go for
I'll
it.
grab all masks. Majora's Mask, Goron Guy, with the all masks category. And I believe there was a timing change here. They actually started to add the intro to the timing so that the run is more serious.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm.
It used to be a race category, and people just started after the first Song of Time, or after the Deku Mask, since the first 22 minutes is like all cutscenes and walking around.
So, yeah,
And then-
people were enjoying running it. So then, to make it a record
But-
category with no competition, they added...
Yep.
I actually like all masks. I think it's kind of interesting.
I think it's the worst category except low
Oh my
percent.
god. Because Majora's Mask is really about like the side quest type stuff, and getting all the masks is a good way to complete all of that.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, the thing about Majora's Mask is a lot of people did all masks as well, just by playing through the game normally. There was something compelling about getting them all, and it was probably just the Fierce Deity thing, knowing about that. But
I don't know why
It's
you
cool.
even get Fierce Deity Mask when Blast Mask is so much better.
I don't know, I just always had Rabbit Mask on the whole time. I wish I knew if you could bomb slide. Can you bomb slide in Majora's Mask?
Yeah,
Yes.
but not with the Blast Mask.
Oh,
You
can
can
you do
hover
it with
with
the
Blast
You
Mask,
can hover
though,
with
right?
Blast Mask, though.
Yeah.
Can you do it with the bunny ears though? So you have the bunny ears shaking.
It doesn't increase your speed.
Oh,
But
but
do
do
the
the ears
ears
shake?
Do the ears
Yeah.
flap around?
Yeah, they flap.
Yes. Okay, that's it. A new project. I'm gonna speedrun Majora's Mask. I'm going to set up those even though they're slower. It's all good.
Max bunny %?
Max bunny %. Bunny only. That's all good. So, and then 100% ZFG.
Yeah, so NOP got a 52721 100%. Keeps improving that by a good amount, like every week. He says gonna be done after sub 525. It's gonna be really tough to get. Yeah, his run got pretty good RNG. I think he definitely made a few mistakes, but it definitely is gonna be tough for him to get 525.
Why don't you tell us what all those mistakes were?
I don't know.
Calling him out. Wow.
No, I'm not calling it out. I'm just saying.
No, I mean, Flicky was calling you
No,
out.
me. Yeah.
I don't believe you.
Yeah. I think
What
this
were
one's
they?
perfect. So, but yeah, Majora's Mask definitely getting the love recently, which is good.
Yeah.
We'll have it. It'll be at ESA actually. Would that be the first time Majora's Mask at a marathon by like a Majora's Mask runner? Because I know
Is it Majora's Mask?
Runner guy. Well, you did it, but you said to
Yeah.
me like you.
I picked it up like
You
3
picked it
months
up.
before.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I meant. I wasn't being insulting. There was good reasoning behind it. I asked him. He told
Likely
me.
story. I thought you were just going to say, is that the first time Majora's Mask's ever been at a marathon?
No.
Yeah,
And then we would have said, yeah, it was.
Yeah, I think that was
Runner
it.
guy would have been too polite to say anything.
Yeah, probably.
All right, now Phantom Hourglass. Now, using my amazing powers of memory, I know that Runner Guy's copy is still sealed, so he's not the right guy to ask about Phantom Hourglass.
Correct.
So ZFG.
All right. So Greenalink did. Where is this? I can't find it on the dock. Okay, there it
It's
is.
the really big one.
Yeah.
yeah.
Greenalink got
Oh my goodness.
334.18. 80% single segment with resets. He says Zelda Phantom Hourglass in 334.18 W split, roughly 334.21, but that's because I had to start the timer a bit too early and finish it a bit too late. A few weeks ago, I made a poll to see what project I should do next after finishing Shadow Complex, and the most popular choice was Phantom Hourglass, any percent. Second place went to Super Mario 3D Land's special ending category. A small note was that 348.05 by Cheese4343 doesn't use save and quit because, it doesn't use save and quit abuse. Well, my run does. The world record happened on Monday night, and shoutouts to Adam AK for rating my channel near the end of the run. It's the first full-length run I've completed this year, and I know I can save at least 4 minutes. I did another good attempt on Friday that fixes most of the major mistakes that happened on Monday's attempt, but the worst way to lose a run happened nearly 3 hours into the run. My PC decided to reset itself instantly.
Oh,
no.
Where'd it go? I lost it. Okay.
it's good. It's in the same place.
I was 4 minutes ahead, but hopefully by next week I should be able to hit sub 330. As the game doesn't have tough execution, unlike OOT, MM, and Wind Waker, there's a good chance I might be able to get one SDA submittable very soon.
So I know Greenalink had the old Phantom Hourglass, so he hasn't just randomly picked this up. I'm pretty sure he had this on SDA before.
I don't know if it was on SDA, but I know he did.
Oh,
a
no, BSC, yeah.
a long time ago.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
right.
it was around the same time, so this is pretty good.
Yeah. It's a good job. Two things to say about, well, actually just one. Very dangerous to do a poll for what your audience wants.
Yeah.
I'm sure if I ever did that, I'd say, hey, actually, no. You know what? I'm going to run this other game instead. I know PJ would do that.
Yeah.
PJ would have a poll and it'd be, what game should I run? It'd be Lagoon would win. Actually, you know what? I'm going to run the Fido Dido game.
No, you're getting it wrong. I'd start learning it and then do one day of attempts and be like, someone in chat would be like, hey, haven't you played this other game before? I'd say, oh, you're right. I should do attempts of that first. And then it would just get tacked onto my list.
Next up, we got Tiny Toon Adventure. PJ, while you were talking, why not keep talking?
That's a good
Do
question.
Tiny Toon Adventure.
All right,
We
so
can recover all the energy emissions from the radar room. Sorry, you said that's a good question. That's
this is Tiny Toon Adventure by Countdown 69. This is the NES. I think there was a Tiny Toons game on the SNES, but it might have a slightly different name. Anyways, the time is 1914. He's got a comment here. It is an almost perfect record, with only 2 deaths on stage 6. That doesn't seem like almost perfect.
dude, that's almost perfect.
Well, it's 2 deaths short of perfect.
And a few under-executed levels like 1-3 and 3-3. The biggest loss of time was getting all the way to Montana Max and dying with 1 hit left, which brings you back to the beginning of stage 6. Believe it or not, there was one other recorded run of this on YouTube. Had a time in the high 19s, and he beat that, obviously. For this run, he used Plucky Duck as his companion because he swims the best and has the best partner ability, gliding downward a la Neki. Alright?
I'm sorry, I like because he swims the best sounds like the reasoning a kid would give for why they like their pet. My favorite pet is Plucky Duck because he swims the best.
Yeah. Yeah, I was actually thinking the same thing as I read that. He does not want to spend any more time trying to get a deathless run, but sub 18 is possible without that huge death he had on Monty. Shoutouts to Blecky, CMN, and #blind for getting him on this game.
Alright, that explains it. That's where it came from. Bletchy Race.
Yep.
Okay,
That'll do it.
Next up, just before we got these last 2 runs, Runner Guy, would you like to do Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines? And I don't have a good reason for why, so you're just going to have to trust me on this one.
Okay. We've got Vampire in any percent single segment by Lurchan, 1:14.
I think that's going to be hours and minutes.
1 hour, 1 hour, 14 minutes. He says, I'm currently the only single segment runner for this game, although Honorable J might start running it now that I've accomplished a full run. I run vanilla VTMB because of SDA rules and because the unofficial patches fix some glitches that allow for some sequence breaks. But because I run vanilla, it means I can only use the one patch Trokia Games put out before going out of business. The game is incredibly glitchy to the point where you cannot move on in the run because you get permanently stuck at a conversation or on a door. Wow, this sounds really like Ocarina of Time.
I like how that sentence justifies itself. It's they only put out one patch because they went out of business. The game is incredibly oh, okay.
Yeah, it was a really well-structured paragraph.
This is some next-level RNG, which is out of 20 runs, I will only complete 1, so just completing a run is an accomplishment in itself.
1 out of 20 is not bad at all.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good, actually.
I've done 2,500 attempts of Super Ghouls and Ghosts without getting to Loop 2.
It's depressingly true.
The game is also very FPS intensive, and I have a shit rig. I don't know. If you drop below 60 FPS, you cannot bunny hop correctly. I move up to about 300U, but Jay with his superior computer can bunny hop up to 500 with loading times.
I like you absolutely universal measurement system, so we all know what that is.
Yeah.
I can only guess it's units, but okay, he can go 300U. Buy a better computer, I guess, or run an older game.
Or run a game that isn't trash, I guess.
Yeah. That's your option. Good stuff. Thank you very much, Ronnie Guy.
No problem.
And finally, we have Zabumafu. Playtime in Zabuland. Or Zobo, I don't know. This one's all you, Feasel. Take us home.
Oh, okay. What can I tell you about this game that hasn't already been said before? So, as Flicky said, and I'm saying again just because I like the name so much, this is a run of Zabumafu Playtime in Zabuland for the Game Boy Color by NES Kamikaze. Here's what he says about the game. He says, people say the games that I play are too easy, so I chose not to play on easy. My difficulty options are easy, easier, and the easiest. Those are the difficulty options, yes. So naturally, this run is on the easiest. About 4 seconds of mistakes, 320 would be beast. Also, this is the laggiest Game Boy game I've ever seen, and it's true. Like, I don't know if the sound is coming through in the video or not, but it's like
lags, that's when
it lags so terribly. Like, it's about half the speed that it's supposed to be most of the time. It's pretty funny.
I'm impressed that this game even has sound, to be honest.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, like, I don't know what to say about this game. You jump around, and then there's berries, and...
Is this the result of Nez's tweet that he posted, which was, hey guys, I need a short, easy game to play that's about 3 minutes long. Someone recommend me something. Is that where this came from? Does anyone know? I'm stinky when I'm scared. Fiesel, did you write that?
I didn't write that. That's actually in the game.
I'm pretty sure it's in the game.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
Is that just the rest of the highlight?
That's it.
No, that's it. So
it's just this for 10 more minutes.
Well done, Nez Kamikaze. Keep reaching. I don't know. Keep doing whatever it is you do, Nez. I don't understand it, but nice. Good job. Finally, there's an honourable mention that the guy didn't actually submit to the show, but RoboSparkle did his first Arkham City 100%. He was predicting 7 to 8 hours, and he did it in 6:40, 6:57.
Wow.
Which, if you've played Arkham City, you know the 100% is a lot of stuff. There's 440 Riddler trophies to collect. So he gets all of those, does all the side missions, and so on. And even very conveniently for the fans, he actually finishes with the Riddler mission, so the game just doesn't end. He doesn't just collect one meaningless pickup and then go, okay, that's it, I'm done. He finishes there. So,
wow.
Good job, Robo. He did that stream all day today. That was his thing.
I've got another honorable mention.
Okay, go for it.
I was watching Blackie and Cypher doing Goof Troop attempts today.
Oh, nice.
And normally they're completely fruitless and nothing happens and they yell at each other a lot and then play something fun.
Yeah.
But they had 2 actually promising runs make it to the final boss, who is just an RNG nightmare. You need, you can't even damage him unless he throws bombs that you can throw back at him. And, so one attempt he spent 40 seconds jumping around, not throwing bombs, and another one he only spent 20 seconds jumping around, not throwing bombs. But both of those were well on pace to be record and weren't.
Okay,
but
cool.
Good stuff to them.
Just one final reminder then. Please go check out... Well, first of all, you can follow us on Twitter. That's at TSSBreak. And while you're there, why not follow at ZFG111, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Why not do that?
Why not?
But also, you should check out TSSBreak.com, which is our fantastic website that Fiesel's been working very hard on, with some other people helping him. I'm very proud of it. I think it looks awesome.
Yeah.
It's got loads of info about the show. There's MP3 versions of a bunch of the podcasts that we've done. There's also downloadable MP4 and the YouTube uploads as well. So it's really cool. Go check that one out. And on there, you will also find our new record submission form. So please use that. You can still email if you want to for a little while, but check it out. All you got to do is go to the Sunday Sequence Break, or tssbreak.com, click on Submit a Record, and fill out the fancy form there. It's a lot like Congratio was before for this, and it gives us all your info. We can get your YouTube, Twitter ID, that sort of stuff, so you can get, more cool guys.
All your info.
All your info.
Bank account,
name,
list
address.
of fears.
List of fears. Oh, man. That could be... We need to add that column, list of fears. And then you can also put highlight suggestions in there, link videos. So all the cool stuff. So if you, want to do a record, throw it out there. That would be great. Yeah, and also just check out the website. It's really cool. It's got all the link database on there. and so on. And because we haven't done it in a while, I don't think, we would like to thank all our helpers on the show. That's Gilda Sneeze, Green K4 for doing highlight videos, Hit Manatee for helping out with the podcast and the vodcast. He helps out with as well, right, Fiesel?
That's right.
Yep. And also Arcano for being our general helpery dude who helps us out in all sorts of ways. So thank you to him as well. And while we're on helping, we'd like to thank our special guests today, ZFG and Runner Guy. Thank you guys.
Glad to be here.
Yeah.
No problem.
And would you like to say anything else? Any hellos or not hellos to any people? Any
goodbye.
races or
Some
runs
not
or
hellos.
anything you'd like to promote? You got, whatever you want to do right now. We'll start
We
with
go
Runner Guy.
shout outs.
Yes, you can do shout outs.
Yeah, do it.
I want to give some shout outs to Kazooie and Akrite. They were around for a long time in like 2006 when the explosion of glitches in Ocarina of Time really came out, and it just seemed like Kazooie found nearly every big trick there was to find. I mean, he found Shadow early, he found the Kuko jump, he found Dwarf time skip. It just seemed like he had his hands in reverse Bottle Adventure. Any big trick, it just seemed like he was the one that found it, was the one that was able to break it. And Akrite, it always seemed like he had just these crazy, wacky ideas in Ocarina of Time, which in Ocarina of Time they actually kind of made sense, and half the time they actually worked. So, like if, for an example, the wrong warp that we talked about in this run, it wasn't found until this past year. It was found in 2012. He was basically so close to finding it in like 2008. He had like all the ideas set up to make it work and just couldn't get it to work. But I mean, no one else was even like on his level back in 2008.
He was actually literally frames away from finding it back in 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Jeez.
So I just wanted to give a shout out to those two old school players. I don't see them around as much anymore, but they've definitely been a huge part of the Ocarina of Time speedrunning community.
Awesome. And ZFG?
I just want to give a shout out to basically everyone in the OOT speedrunning community in the last like 6-7 years, even the smaller ones who have only found a few things. Just everyone who has made OOT what it is today. All the glitches that have been found that make it as fast as it is now. It's been the work of a lot of different people. Huge community working for years to make it what it is, and just thanks to everyone who has made this game what it is today.
Awesome. Cool stuff. Feezel and PJ, was there anything you would like to do before we sort of wrap up?
Not really. Oh, I guess I should point out the coming up on SGL this week, what we've got. Coming this Thursday, 9 p.m. here on this channel, we're going to do our next episode of Speed Gaming League, and our players this week are Cypher, Chung,
Oh god. Oh
Peaches,
god.
and
Oh,
Nesca
God.
Ozzy.
What the hell?
Yep.
Yep, we're bringing out all the big guns.
Dude, wait, I have Friday off. I can watch it. Oh shit.
Nice.
Even
Yes.
Flicky is going to watch it, so it's
Dude,
going to be.
even I'll be there.
And if we're
Uh,
lucky, he won't be on Skype.
Oh man!
Yeah, I probably won't be because Adam AK's coming over next weekend.
Right.
Oh,
So you'll
yeah,
be
see.
too drunk to figure out how to work Skype.
Yeah.
That's good though. That's fine.
Not too drunk to go pick him up from the airport, but too drunk to figure out Skype.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine.
Sounds about right.
What game
Yeah.
are they playing? Did you
And
say?
their main game, is going to be Jackal for the NES.
Oh man.
Mhm.
So if you like seeing Jeeps shoot grenades at things, then, and who doesn't? I mean, it's sort of
Who
stupid
doesn't, right?
if you like seeing that. Right. But yeah.
But if you don't like it, stay away because there will be lots of that.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Right, awesome. Thanks again to ZFG and Runner Guy. Thanks also to Cosmo, who was going to be here, but I completely understand sleep's more important. But he offered, obviously, to help out with the show as well. Obviously, thanks to all our viewers. PJ, Feasel, Runner Guy, ZFG, would you like to discreetly in Skype decide on who we're going to raid?
All right.
All right.
Take a peek. If you know anybody doing actual runs of their game, don't make the flicky mistake.
Yeah.
People watching, obviously go raid this guy, person, whoever we're about to link. Go raid and, I don't know, say whatever they tell you to say, just to spread the love. And if you would like to stick around and watch a couple of commercials for us, we'll be playing some once the show is done. Just 3 minutes of commercials. Leave the stream open if you want to help us. We don't really like playing them in the middle of the show, even though it would be a way better idea. So, awesome. Next week, we don't fully have a show set up, but we would like... Yeah, I will slip out what we would like so that you can bug the guys if you know them. We want to do Diddy Kong Racing next weekend with Tofel and Spaz, whatever you say that. So, bug those guys if you know them. That's what we want to do. The week after that, we're not too sure. We will work on that one, but we're thinking Diddy Kong Racing next week. Yep. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I think that's everything. Go check out SGL this Thursday. That's going to be crazy. Was that Cypher, Peaches, Nez Kamikaze, and Chum?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, dude, that's going to be ridiculous. So, yeah, have we got somebody?
I believe so.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
CFG wants to
do the honors.
lead the raid.
Yeah.
All right. Ducky1944 is doing...
Whoa.
Link's Awakening.
1994.
1994, yeah.
Yeah.
Did I say
added
that?
50 years to his life.
He's doing Link's Awakening DX right now.
Best Zelda game.
The race.
Yes.
And it's pretty cool.
So leave us open on a separate tab for the ads and go watch Ducky.
Go watch him. Just say hi, whatever. We don't even mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, awesome. Thanks for watching, everybody.
I actually tried doing a run of Spirit Tracks a while back because I wanted to see if it was actually slower than Skyward Sword or not.
You don't need to give a reason.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Everybody understands why you'd want to do Spirit Tracks. The game is called Spirit Tracks, and you drive a train.
Wait, what?
It was just awful. I didn't think it would be as bad as it was. I actually kind of liked it for casual play, but for speedrunning, it's gotta be one of the worst games for speedrunning I've played.